fends heavily down in the last two corners. Oh, Rizzo goes down. He's going to get it done as he's pushed down the inside. And that's pushed Connor wide.
And it looks like Danny Webster is just about made it. He's going to make it there.
Oh, wow.
Dale Braden.
Got down the outside there, side by side, a little bit of contact. Odegaard has managed to catch the car. It's going to make it. First time in 3 lines, 3 guys going side by side down into Kermit Grande. This is going to be epic.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM eCast for your Tuesday night. It is Aus ProAm Sim Series, and it is the final round of the Aus ProAm Sim Series Season 4 2021. And as usual, I'm joined by Carl Withy and Scotty Rankin. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Stuart. Good evening, Carl. Good evening, everybody out there in Streamland. It is the ultimate round, the last one, the one where the championship will be decided. At the end of tonight, a champion will be crowned. Who will it be in the amateur class? The pro class, basically all locked in. Not a huge deal that can be done about that. That is done, dusted. Pro class, locked in. All the rest, you know, that's it, Carl. But that AM championship, the team's championship, are live for all money, and we're live from Germany.
Ja, guten Abend all. Herzlich willkommen auf der Hockenheim für GT-Rennen hier in das Region Baden-Württemberg hier in Deutschland. The final round des Auspass.
Wow. Mein Name ist Stuart. Wo wohnst du? Jeez, wasn't expecting that.
Ja, danke, Scott. Danke, Herr Rankin. Danke, Herr Brown. We are here final round of the Auspass here in Germany, if you could not guess from the butchered pronunciation there for that one.
So we've got we've got Carl with you. Continue to surprise me week in, week out. Two and a little bit left in practice here. The final practice tonight is a little bit different, of course, as you may have caught there at the top of the stream from Scotty Rankin. We've got our final round here. It's an Enduro 70-minute race here at the Hockenheim Ring, a new addition to iRacing, which feels like only a week or two ago, but of course part of an earlier release as we moved into Season 4 of iRacing proper. And it's the first time we're here with Auspass.
Yeah, really exciting to be here because it is such a cool track, such a historic track as well. It might be a little bit neutered from the olden days, but this place is fantastic for GT cars.
Yeah, and look, the racing's just top notch. Like, it's first class. There's not a huge deal you can do around here to get the overtakes done in the back half of the sector, but there are two big old long straights, some high speed sections, the low speed sections, the sections where Formula One cars ended up off the road in tricky conditions a couple of years ago. What a cracker of a race that was. We can only hope for one pretty much the same here tonight. Qualifying just about to finalize itself for the evening. Just over a minute remaining on that one. Boys, how's it looking in terms of the AM class? That's where I want to keep my eyes focused early on.
You've got to say, Lotte Capel is looking quick actually out there. He's one of the fastest cars out there at the moment, setting the fastest time in practice so far. So you got to say it's looking good for him at the moment.
He's been absolutely on song the whole season long too. There's, barely put a foot wrong, if at all. So look, I mean, head down, Daniel Webster, there he is, P22, with a minute left. He's got a little bit, if he can get back to the line, he'll get one more lap in. No, that'll be it. Starting from P22. Oh, it's only practice. I'm getting excited. I'm sorry. I missed the P.
It's not hard to rev you up, obviously. It's, you're just getting started a little bit too soon. That's it. We just have to calm you down, cool you down a little bit, get the coolant, get the old dry ice out and get the start sequence restarted for you, Scotty. One thing I actually wanted to point out tonight is Jeff Connell has switched cars tonight. He has switched to bid farewell to the Ferrari 488 GT car, of course. So he's going to be racing that one tonight. So we'll be seeing, instead of him in a Lamborghini, he'll be in a Ferrari.
Move to switch cars just for one round. One final throw of the dice. particularly given, well, I mean, he's not really potentially in championship contention, but he is just lurking beneath the waters as well. So, look, I mean, taking a quick look at the championship standings, Pro Class, Shane Wallace, Jack Boyd, Ross Rizzo, Jack Widders, Luke Turner, Jeff Connells all the way down in P6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2,301 points at this stage. He's 99 points off the next guy ahead of him, and 126 points in front of Scott Gray as the next car behind him.
Yeah, he might be looking to try and get a decent result out of tonight, because that Ferrari is very light indeed, of course. It is basically at factory weight. The Lamborghini, of course, a hefty 45 kilograms of ballast on board, so that thing has now effectively got a Fiat truck on there. We've gone from a 500 to a truck now, so it is very heavy indeed, but I expect to still see it performing well.
Oh, it's been a phenomenal season. I just think back to, there's been something happening in just about every round right the way throughout the season. We've had very few, if any, moments whereby the racing has been not close at all. The racing, it's basically just been the feature of the AUSPAS season, is that we've had very tight racing. Well, I wanted to keep my eyes on the guys in the M class. Look at who we're looking at. Guys in the M class making their way out of pit lane, and that is important, chaps.
Yeah, it's a very tight battle in the amateur series, and it's great to see as well. It's great to see the battles going on between the two different classes tonight, and going to be exciting to watch this race unfold. Of course, it is a full enduro race tonight as well, so it is going to be a long one. They are going to have to watch out, and they are going to have to, you know, you can't win it in the first lap, but you sure as heck can lose it.
About endurance races, going to see multiple pit strategies, and pit strategy play a huge factor when you get out in traffic. Hockenheim, like I said earlier, not the most easy circuit to overtake on, but it's also not up there amongst the most difficult. There are multiple spots throughout the lap where you can send the cars 2-3 wide if you really want to. And I think, was it AUSPAS that we saw? I feel like it was AUSPAS at the first round of the Simrigs era of AUSPAS. We saw cars 4 to 5 wide heading down to the hairpin on the first lap.
Did we have a wild card round here?
Maybe it was a wild card.
Yes, wild card round. Yeah, Braden's having to work.
Okay.
So.
Good to see that I'm still cognizant of what's going on and what to think about a whole bunch of things, even though I'm sleep deprived. So.
Who needs sleep? Sleep is for the weak, of course. Just trying to filter through who we are following at the moment. One of the Lamborghinis. Ross Rizzo there. So once he gets around these few corners, we'll go through a bit of a lap here at the Hockenheim ring, of course, in the Baden-Württemberg part of Germany. Former Prussia, of course, back in the day. Not part of the quiz tonight, but I'm sure there will be a few questions. Going through the stadium section now. So we will get this lap underway for you very shortly, as we are on board with Matty Cardiglione. So we will follow him around for this lap as he's just getting through the stadium section now in that beautiful Lamborghini, and we'll go for a lap here at the Hockenheim ring, of course. The Grand Prix circuit, as all Cardiglione loses it. Few cars losing it in this section. As we go through a little bit further, the Sud curve is an area where you do tend to lose the rear end. Will he go round and start another lap? Looks like he is. So let's stay on board with Matty Cardiglione as we come down to the Nord curve, turn number 1. Very fast right-hander. Take a lot of curb on the inside, and you can take a bit of curb on the outside as well. See that big sausage curve? You've got to be careful of that. Got to be careful of keeping the car inbound. So you can see the pit exit there. Very easy to catch a car coming out of pit exit. Turns 2, 3, and 4 in the Afghan Parabolica. This is where the track changes from the old track. You used to go on there into the Black Forest. Now we turn right onto the long Parabolica straight section, I should say, of turn number 5. It's not that straight. It's a big long curve, hence being being called the Parabolica, of course, meaning big long curve. Down towards Spokestail, turn number 6, very tight right-hander, dropping down towards first gear here. Get the car nice and slowed down. Bit of corner there. You can actually exit a little bit wide. It is an overtaking spot after that long straight, but you have to be careful. Getting up towards turn 7, almost flat into this right-hander. Take a nice big chunk of curb, going up towards the Mercedes grandstand and a Mercedes curve with turn number 8. Left-hander. Get through here nicely, because this is where you need to make a good run towards the stadium section. 9 and 10 we're going through now. We've got a little bit wide, the drag strip to your left-hand side there. Down towards turn 11, the mobile curve here. Just got to be careful of running wide here. Very easy to do and very easy to get a little bit of that gravel. We're in the stadium section now. Turn number 12. Long left-hander. Very sleepy corner. Of course, this section used back from when the track changed to this configuration. Turn number 14 and 15 now. Getting towards the start-finish line. As I said, you've got to be careful of the sud curve. Very easy to lose the car in that section, because it does get a little bit slippery and it's a little bit highly cambered and can throw you out. And that is a lap of the Hockenheim ring.
It's particularly in that last sector, it's very busy. Got to be awkward with that curve coming through turn number 1 that time. A little bit too tight there from Cardelloni, and he'll back out and reset for the rest of this lap. So qualifying numbers starting to come in. Check them across the bottom of your screen. Dustin Fletcher throws down another lap, doesn't improve on his existing time. Funslows towards the tail end of another one of his laps. Again, not improving. Aaron DeLuca not improving at this stage. Christopher Henn, orange in all 3 sectors. So multiple drivers out there at the moment not being able to improve on their times. So it is not easy to get a good lap in at this stage, and drivers are certainly struggling. And I want to have a look at that track map, because I have a feeling that thing's busy as all get out tonight.
One driver that has managed a very good lap is Jeff Connell in the Ferrari, a 36.467, which is faster than anybody managed in practice as well. Fastest lap in practice was a 36.63, so that is one heck of a lap that Connell has pulled out the bag there. Really saving that one for qualifying.
Ricardo again? No, it wasn't. It was somebody else this time. I was about to say. Oh, my word.
I think it might have been Glenn Boyd. I think it might have been. Maybe.
Whoever it was not having a good time there on the drag strip. It is a tricky corner. Look, that sequence of corners, that turn 15 and 16 complex is really tricky, and it throws a lot of people out. It's hard enough in a Formula 1 car, let alone a GT car. Of course, a lot less downforce in these things, a little bit less mechanical grip. You do have a little bit of traction control that helps out a tiny bit, but going through those corners, it is so fast. It's so easy to lose the rear end. The car gets off-settled there, and if you run really wide, you end up on the drag racing strip.
Yeah, well, look, guys struggling right around the lap, and I mean, draft is going to be a huge factor to pace. It's made different points here tonight. So they've got to settle themselves down, make sure that they're all doing the right things. And to be perfectly honest, I'm seeing a lot of names out there that aren't improving on their times right now. So it looks like the early phases of the session may have been the way to get out, get your lap in, and then just search for a little bit of track room to be able to go and get another one. Have a look at this draft train of all those cars on the screen. Every single one of them within the draft of the car ahead.
Yeah, very much using that slipstreaming advantage for themselves as they go down the big, long, curved straight to that final very tight right-hander. It is such a tricky thing to get right as well there, because it's sort of an awkward corner because it is so tight. It's very easy to lose a lot of time in that section.
So I think that was Timothy Harris just opting to bail down the escape road and tow back to the pit lane. Obviously, things weren't to his liking at that point in time. Big, hefty server tonight, lads. Lots of cars in the hunt, which is what we like for a championship finale. We've had just about full fields right the way through. So, crucially, there'll be more information surfacing later on in the piece about season number 5 of AUSPASS. If you are excited to get involved within the Computer Technology Corporation Aus ProAm Sim series, don't forget to stick around later. There'll be a ton of information, and well, we've been privy to some secret intel, and things are getting spicy for the next season, I'll say that much.
Oh, you say we've been privy? I've not been told anything. They've kept me completely out of the loop, as always.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you weren't here for that conversation. Sorry, Carl. No, you weren't here for that conversation last week. You had other things, unfortunately, to get to. There is some cool things coming.
was about to say, the good news is that means it's just as much of a surprise for you tonight, Carl, as it is for everybody else.
That's fine. I'll get my own back with some really hard questions.
Well,
Anyway,
speaking of which, I was going to say, I've actually got the first question queued up. I'm going to drop it into the chat. And Carl, the quizmaster, if you want to roll out the first question you gave me, Carl, I'll pop that one up into the chat. Maybe we can get that resolved at the end of qualifying.
I now have to remember which question that was.
So it was about what year did the new layout of Hockenheim debut? So just pop that up into the chat.
Sorry. The trouble with multiple questions is you forget which ones you've actually asked. So yes, what year did this variation of the layout, the Hockenheim Grand Prix track, debut for the circuit here in Germany? Or was it the year 2000, 2001, 2002, or 2003? So the answers, guess your answers in the there. Vote away. Let us know what you think, and we'll let you know who's correct once we get to the final stages.
I am hoping. I think I know what the answer is.
Yeah,
I want to see what the discussion is in chat.
Yeah, you have to keep it to yourself until we actually until we get to the stage where we're going to release it. So you have to sit on that one, Scotty. I know that's tricky for you. You just got to hold it in there.
I can't. Carl, stop asking me to do impossible things. It's not fair.
I know, I'm being mean tonight. It's great. And just bear in mind, that is the easy question as well. So,
that's the easy question, Carl says. That's the easy question. Oh, man, he is messing us up. I still got the great circuit to run on, too. I can remember the old Formula One cars trundling around the Schumacher era out in the backstretch. Wasn't that a phenomenal piece of road as well, piece of real estate? I really wish they had some of the classic layouts within iRacing. It's certainly something to miss.
Yeah, very much so. Unfortunately, it all has become forest now. There's not much of that left anymore. A big replantation program in the Black Forest region to get things back to some form of normality there. And unfortunately, that meant that much of the track had to disappear and is now covered in many, many trees.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, it is what it is. So, all right, time to keep our eyes forward on qualifying. Just a titch under 8 minutes remaining for this one. So keep your eyes through. Fast laps starting to come out. Glenn Boyd's actually done a reasonable time. Jack Boyd, long way down the order down there in P14. Now remember that BMW hasn't had a huge deal of balance changes, so he is still, he should be a lot further up than that. Andrew Dyson just sets an absolute cracker and goes to P2, but Connell's still got the top step at this stage.
Yeah, noticing a name missing there in Shane Wallace, of course. Not seeing him out tonight, unfortunately. So he does not appear to be out there from what I can see. So that could make things a little bit interesting.
Actually, speaking of names that are actually out on the circuit, Andre Heimgartner announced that he was not continuing with his team any further for the next V8 Supercar season. That's fine. He can come be a part of our iRacing team because he's regularly enjoyed trips out in this series. Funnily enough, I remember Cardo telling a great story about Andre Heimgartner showed up, asked how much fuel he needed to run, and told him an incorrect number. So,
actually, some good news for Andre Heimgartner during the last day, Scotty. Just to trip you up, unfortunately, he's
always out of touch.
He's joined Brad Jones Racing, so that's a really good result. Fantastic team, and not to say anything bad about the Nissan squad or the former Nissan squad at all, but good to see him join another local Victorian team.
You just wanted to say local Victorian team, didn't you, Stu? I know what you're on about.
Well, I am a New South Welshman, but I do like the independent teams, the Kelly team, and which is now, of course, Grove Racing, but and BJR. I like supporting the smaller teams.
Just interesting, as I was looking through qualifying, I've got Paul Mansell up there in the top 5 as well. So that is 3 Ferraris in the top 5 at the moment. We've got a Porsche and a Lamborghini, a couple of Porsches up there, and it's a Porsche and Ferrari lockout at the moment. The next closest car is the Lamborghini of Ross Rizzo in P6, and the closest BMW is that of Luke Turner in P9.
Can I just quickly touch on as well, guys? Daniel Webster currently sitting in P11 in the amateur class. Lachlan Capel currently on pole in class in position 12 outright. So Webster here, who we're following, is he's got some work to do.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle in that AM class, and it's going to be tricky to beat Lachlan Capel. He has just been so fast. He is just on the verge of getting. Well, he's going to be getting that P next to his name soon. I am sure that will be something that will happen in the near future.
Oh, he's been fast enough for a top 10, I think, in the championship in terms of pro standings. Actually, no, apologies. I was talking to Sam Lehman last week. He's currently sitting, if you were to take into account all of the standings between both of the classes and sort of merge them into one big field, he'd be sitting P17 in the championship. That's a phenomenal run for an amateur.
Yeah, he did tell us last week that he's just not quite qualified for the Jeff Connell rule yet. So
he's on the fringe. On the fringe.
There's some less than 1% below the required qualification to activate one of the 3 Jeff Connell rules that exist in the series. So.
Sorry, there's only 2 in existence now. There will be a third next season.
Next season. So.
He just needs an extra L in his name, and then he'll be capable for the Jeff Connell rule. So he's very close. He's that close.
So it's a very, very good run from Lachlan Capel, that is for sure. But we'll bring you a little bit of information about Season 5 coming up, but I imagine he will be up into the pro category.
Yeah, that's something to be very excited about, and it's great to see young talent actually moving their way up and really, really improving over the year as well. It's something we have seen from a lot of the AM drivers as well. They've really been improving in their overall results as well as their amateur results as well. Really strong performances, managing to get those top 20 finishes in the overall positions as well, and that's great to see. It's not an easy thing to do in this field. These guys are ridiculously quick out there. You know, you sort of think, well, probably not that fast, you know, and then you jump in a car and practice against them and you go, oh, okay, yes, I'm very slow indeed. And these guys are actually very good at what they do because they nail it lap after lap after lap as well.
Nail it's the right word, and speaking of nailing it, Lachlan Capel right now P12 on the board. Tim Audie is currently P13, just in behind him. Neither of them capable of improving on their current lap. Same to Jeff Connell. The track conditions it's just running away just a little bit from the guys. So.
With only 2 minutes 45 seconds remaining, it's getting very tight now. You can pretty much manage a bit of an out lap and fast lap now. It's getting towards the tail end of the chance to set a fast lap now, so you've got to be quick to get out there and actually start looking at setting those fast laps. So I think a few people will be trying that in the next lap or two, just to try the next minute or two, well, next 20 or so seconds, sorry, I should say, to try and get it out there and get it for one last flying lap to see what they can do. Trouble is when you get a lot of people doing that at the same time, you end up with a lot of traffic on the circuit.
Do remember, guys, as well, it caught me out last time we were here at an Enduro that this isn't a hard lock session because it's not a heat race. So as long as they commit that final lap with a second to go, they will get that full lap in.
With times in the 1 minute 36 to 40 sort of range, you've got to be across the line about 10 seconds from now. Well, so time is running out to start those final flying laps. A whole bunch of guys in the last sector. It's basically locked in now. So anyone who starts another lap now, this will be their final lap of qualifying. Anyone that starts from now will be their final lap of qualifying. They won't get across for another one after this. So that's as it stands. Sorry, my apologies. Speaking of guys that...
So it looks like Dyson's going to probably need that because he went very wide in the first corner. Is probably going to get that lap pretty much null and void because it was so far out of the circuit region. It was heading towards Nürburgring rather than Hockenheim.
You're a funny one, Carl. You're a funny one. Well, apparently, if you just run off the end of the main straight and just keep going, eventually you'll end up at the Nürburgring, and it's going to be it. Ross Rizzo up on P number 6. Jack Wittes, that is a poor qualifying effort for Jack Wittes. He has been a lot better than that of recent note. If P17 is his starting point, but remember, ladies and gentlemen, it is an endurance race tonight, so qualifying is going to mean just track position in the early phases of this one, and not necessarily everything.
It's a endurance, not a sprint, remember. And of course, every driver will take that to heart and then treat it like a sprint race, as is so often the case with racing drivers.
Try telling Daniel Ricciardo it's an endurance, not a sprint.
Yes. No, great to see. Obviously, great to see Danny Rick up there and McLaren as well getting a 1-2. It's been far too long since we've seen McLaren at the top of the winning sheet in Formula One, and same for Danny Ricciardo as well. But fantastic result for all those drivers. Qualifying is rolling to an end. A few cars still out there trying to set some fast laps. Who will manage to make it on across the line on this fast sector? A couple of drivers already throwing it in. So I saw Luke Turner pull off the road as well. So most of the top drivers not able to make it. Ross Rizzo trying his best to hustle the Lamborghini around. Will he make it? He did just tap back gravel a little bit. The kick of the dust in the air, and he's going to try and do a little bit better. He's currently sitting in P6. Will he be able to improve on this lap? We'll find out in just a few short corners. Just get it through the final corner now and up to the line. How does Ross Rizzo do? Does not improve on his lap, so he's going to be starting in P6.
Been pretty much consistent right the way through too, hasn't it, Carl? Is that a lot of the quickest laps were set very early on in the session, guys. Didn't seem to improve as that session went on, which makes me a little bit worried for tyre temperature and tyre wear as the night progresses as well.
Yeah, it's something I actually noticed in a bit of practice that I was doing. Richard Brookfield there just crossing the line and jumping up to 33rd position, so he managed to actually set a slightly better time. Something I noticed in a little bit of practice session I took part in during the week was that the tyres tended to drop off a little bit, especially after about 5 or 6 laps. They were dropping off a fair bit, so we might see tyres come into play a little bit tonight.
We do have that new tyre model that was implemented by iRacing during the week as well, and I was talking to Cardo before the stream, and he said exactly that they come on really early, but they fall away pretty quick. So that has played into things tonight. New BOP as well for the cars. So a few changes here that will throw a cat amongst the pigeons, and we'll see how that balances out over the duration. The Ferrari apparently a bit stronger, and part of that's to do with those penalties implemented in the AUSPROAM system.
How good would it be to see the Ferrari cross the line and get a win for one final time tonight? I mean, it is retiring, hanging up its tyres after this race, of course, because the new version is out.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing to see. It's one of the best cars in the field in my books, but it's good to see it returning to resurgence. I think you were about to say time to cross the line to the starting grid. By the sounds of things, Stu.
Literally about to say that. It might be time to get the grid up on the screen here and have a quick look for the final round of the Aus ProAm Sim series on FGM eCast, and we've got a full grid here. It is Jeff Connell and Andrew Dyson to take things away out the front with Danny Davis and Joshua Fitt off row 2, and it's Paul Mansell and Ross Rizzo off row 3 with Levin and Heimgartner off 4, then Jordan Peter and Jack Boyd off row 5 with Lachlan Capel, the amateur leader, off row 6 with Luke Turner next to him as we flip over the page here. And then it's Matty Cartaglione and Luke Fitt off row 7 with Orty and Gray off 8. Then it's Widdowson Fletcher off 9 with Derek Orty and Matty Andrews off 10. Followed by Christopher Hen and Aaron DeLuca off 11. Maverick Benson, Daniel Cheney off 12. Glenn Boyd and John Baldwin off 13. We've got Timothy Hancock and Adam Funslow off 14 with Graham Smythe and Daniel Webster off 15. Then it's Guy Leach and Adam Sparrow. Is it Adam Sparrow? Yes. Mitchell Sparrow, my apologies. Mitchell Sparrow off row 16. Then it's Richard Brookfield. Liam Caprice off 17 with Aaron Lawler, Phil Audie off 18. And as we flip over the page, Dale Carpenter, Michael Rosenblatt, Tim Harris, Sam Lehman, Andrew Hayes and Michael Fabian round out our 42 starters for this, the final round of the Aus ProAm Sim Series live on FGM eCast. Thanks to HJ Plant Repairs, Simrix.com, Phoenix Smokers, Computer Technology Corporation, and 93PC.
Not the qualifying Tim Harris would have wanted down there. He has been pretty quick in the AM class and is currently sitting 4th in that championship. So he will have wanted a better qualifying result than down there in 39th position overall. But he is a long way off his championship rivals at the moment. Lachlan Capel absolutely nailing that qualifying for the AM class. So, but it is a long race here at Hockenheim. Of course, you can have a great qualifying session, but it's all about the race and how you finish. That is the most important part.
Yeah, keep your eyes on not only the front of the grid, but the back of the grid. It is going to be lights out, away we go, and hopefully not chaos down at turn number 1, or indeed down at the hairpin. Now, I remember, like I was saying before, there was a race in seasons past here at Hockenheim, and it was incredibly clean, and the guys here are phenomenal at keeping it so. That means keep your head down, boys. It's an endurance race. Let's get ourselves settled in. Let's get this race underway, and for the final time this season, Carl, it is going to be 40 plus cars in an AUSPROAM server, which is just, it's been phenomenal right the way through.
Yeah, look, it's going to be fantastic. Really looking forward to this one. Very excited for it, and we are getting ready to go. I'll leave it to you, Scotty.
Yeah, here it goes. Lights out, and away we go. And immediately, look at the pack spreader. Their wings and fly on the run down to turn number 1. For the final time this evening, there's a host of Ferraris at the head of the field, and it's Jeff Connell who will lead us off for lap number 1. And the run all the way down to the hairpin. Porsche off. That is going to cause chaos. It would be surprising to see most of the field get through there. Get on the anchors, lads. Keep your eyes on the back of the field cam, as cars are just continuing to tumble down the short chute on the run to 2.
It was Heimgartner that was rolling down that bit of straight there. He got caught up as there was a big check up in front of him, and then managed to catch somebody else. So disastrous start there for Heimgartner.
More cars around.
We've got Daniel Cheney, Christopher Henn caught up in that. A lot of vehicles caught up in that one. Matt Andrews as well. So Jordan Peter absolutely out. He's had to turn back. So a lot of vehicles out early in this race.
It's important to note, where are the championship contenders? Where is Capel? Where is Webster? And where is Timothy Harris?
Capel's got damage to the front right of his Lamborghini. From that incident, he got caught up in it as the Porsche went flying over the top of him. He just went underneath it, so he just got a big slap on the front of that Lamborghini. That is going to cause problems. That could cause issues to the radiators of that car. So not what Capel needs for tonight's race.
Yeah, well, he'll have a fast repair at his disposal, but he's got to keep that championship hunt alive.
Luke Turner just goes off as well. Lots of drivers struggling early on here.
Yeah, lots of drivers. We did see it towards the tail end of practice and qualifying as well. Drivers struggling, especially down at the tail end of the lap. So leading us away, Jeff Connell. He led us off the starting grid. He'll lead us down past the line for the second time tonight. He looks pretty settled in that shift to the Ferrari.
Oh, we've got a big incident as well at the final corner. Just going back to have a little bit of a look to see who it was involved in this one. We've got an incident between...
And that's, I believe, a replay on the right-hand side view of what happened at turn number 2 on lap 1.
Yes, that's the replay there. We also had an accident at the final corner. Adam Funslow going off. And then Michael Rosenblatt and Jack Widders getting involved in an accident as well. Rosenblatt's gone spun it right round and gone into Widders there. So lots of big names getting caught up in incidents early on in this race. The guy that is running away at the moment is, well, the guys are Jeff Connell and Andrew Dyson, just managing to keep their noses clean, avoiding a lot of that carnage early on. The two Ferraris just pulling away a little bit. Danny Davidson there in 3rd position, with Joshua Fitt in 4th and Brendan Levine in 5th position. So the whole host of Ferraris, but we've got a Porsche. We've got a couple of Porsches up there as well. The Germans will be very happy with this.
Germans like their GT3 racing. That's why they've got a whole host of cars manufactured in their homeland. And, well, if Nürburgring's not the home of German GT3 racing, Hockenheim's certainly way up there as well. Well, boys, it's been an interesting start. I'm keeping my eyes peeled down the track. How long do we feel that it's going to be before we see a few of these cars start to trundle down pit lane? I mean, if you look at Capel, he'll be trundling down pretty early. There was a car just on the way out of pit lane just then as we went through the first couple turns. I have a feeling that was probably one of the guys that towed, though.
Look, from some of the things that I was looking at, we're probably looking at about lap 5 to 7 in this race for fuel at the start of this race. So I imagine they're going to try and keep it out there as long as possible, run as light as possible, and try and set some fast laps with a little bit of a lighter fuel load. We know that Connell and Dyson are very good at fuel saving, and they'll be doing their absolute best, but they are racing each other at the moment. You can see Dyso is really putting the pressure on Connell at the moment, trying to make a bit of a move. Can't quite make it at the moment, but they are not sitting back. They are both racing very hard at the moment, so good to see there from those two. So I imagine we'll see them in the next 3 laps or so. I reckon they'll be coming in.
Yeah, keep your eyes back in the pack as well, because Ross Rizzo is back there, and I have the feeling that he will be very much pressing that go pedal as little as possible the way around the lap. Indeed, he'll probably be on the clutch for a fair proportion of the lap as well. That tends to be the Ross Rizzo strategy. And indeed, I remember... Yeah, go ahead.
Bell has come into pit lane. He has pitted for his first stop and got that repair work done. Used up that first and only quick repair you get in this race. So his get out of jail card free has been used, and that's dropped him down all the way to P26, I believe. So he's P23, sorry. P23, and so he's just in front of Daniel Webster at the moment, just behind Timothy Harris. So a couple of the championship contenders up in those positions at the moment.
Yeah, keep your eyes on that one, because Capel will be wanting to make his way forward with that phenomenal qualifying effort. I wonder, can you have a quick look through the tail end of the field and just tell me how many fast repairs have been burned already? Because I get a feeling after lap number 1 that just because Capel's popped out where he is, that may be a whole host of cars around him that have pitted. I can't quite tell.
Well, look, there's a lot of cars that have pitted. Where Capel's popped out is just in front of a lot of the cars that have pitted already. Pretty much everybody from 29th down have come into pit lane. Most of them actually came in on the first lap, so a lot of them coming in for that quick stop at the beginning of the race. So Matty Cartleone, Michael Fabian, Michael Rosenblatt, Christopher Henn, Jordan Peter, Matt Andrews and Andrea Heimgartner all have come in the lap later. A lot of those will have had to have used that fast repair, I reckon.
Okay. So, just taking a quick look through the field, 18th backwards have now completed their stops, and notably Ross Rizzo, I believe, has completed his stop as well. So he's on the run down to the hairpin, which means that Capel's come out ahead of him, which is another strong run for him. So Rizzo not opting to go the fuel save strategy. He's come in and he was looking for some free air, and it has not worked out the way he wants. Conversely, maybe it has. Maybe he got a little bit of a tow. Maybe he saved some fuel, but just up in behind him is Smythe as well. So keep your eyes on Smythe. See if he can attach himself to the rear bumper of Rizzo here.
Yeah, very nice and open track for Rizzo at the moment, so that's going to be some good news. Next car up in front of him is Sam Lehman, I believe. Sorry, it's Aaron Lawler, sorry. So a little bit of a gap between those two at the moment. So Rizzo is going to be trying to work his way up there and see what he can do to get some extra positions up. And of course, he'll have a nice full tank as well, which will get around about 14 to 17 laps, depending on how gentle you are on the old accelerator pedal.
Alright, so cars that have pitted about crossing the line at this point in time, so it's just up ahead of these guys where that all sort of starts. Cars continuing to funnel out of the pit lane, and that will be... Sorry, I was just having a look. Mitchell Sparrow, and indeed it's Rizzo's gone around and being collected there, and I hope for his sake that he hasn't got rear suspension damage, because that would put him completely... Yeah, he has. That looks like a crabbing Lamborghini. That does not look settled at all.
That could be disastrous for Rizzo. That's not what you want to have happen.
Yeah, he's crabbing. I just had a look at the rear end of the car. He's crabbing. He's letting people go, so he is still committing to his strategy, but at the same time trying to limp that car back to the pit lane to get his service done as soon as possible and keep that car in contention at the same time. It's going to be a long old night for Ross Rizzo, but the night still will live on.
I actually wonder if Rizzo maybe had to use his quick repair already, because he is part of the initial crash with Heimgartner. Heimgartner got into the side of Rizzo, into the back panel of Rizzo, and then spun off onto the grass and then went flying around. And I wonder if Rizzo maybe used his quick repair then. I'm not sure if he burnt it up then. If he did, then he's going to be in some serious trouble now. as up the front, Jeff Connell and Andrew Dyson are battling away still. Those two are giving us a race at the moment. Ferrari on Ferrari action. It is the black Batmobile, the Ferrari of the alternate white DPR car of Andrew Dyson at the moment, racing for P1. How will this one go?
Good to see the old Ferraris back out on circuit. Which reminds me, Carl, we were supposed to get an answer to your quiz question at the end of qualifying. Qualifying's ended, mate. I want to know.
It has indeed. And what was your answer, Scotty?
I was going to go with 2002.
You were correct. Congratulations. And a bonus point, can you name the designer of the track?
It's not Tilker, is it?
It is indeed.
Oh, of course it is.
A track in 2002 designed by
Whoa.
Tilker. Who would have thought it? Both Connell and Daiso both pitting in, so they have pulled the pin. Coming in right now.
That's it. Both of them in together. So just having a quick look through the server information. 3 fast repairs is the limit this evening. Carl, have a look at how close these two are. If I tell you what, if Dyson was inhaling what was coming out of the rear end of that car, it would be no different than how close his car is right now. Have a look at that. That is precision in pit lane.
Question is, can we really show that on a PG show? I mean, that was pretty racy stuff there. Pretty racy stuff indeed. Where will these cars come out? It's going to be interesting. We've got Danny Davidson's going to be the first car to get past, I believe. So he's just coming along the track now. He's just getting across the start-finish line, going in to turn number 1, gets through there, and you can see the cars coming out onto the track right now.
Oh, and have a look at where they've filed back out. It won't be into the race leaders. Davison will take that one, having pitted a lap earlier. I'm wondering if that stop, that stop was 4 seconds shorter for Davison. So he was conserving either massively or he took a short stop just for a little bit of clear track at this phase of the race. And
Tim Orty up there, who was one of the early stoppers. So Tim Orty using that slightly different strategy to work his way right up into P6 at P4 at the moment. Sorry, words are failing me there.
it's the most important night of season 4, Carl, and your words are failing you tonight. No, to be fair, mine have failed me most of the years. So, and speaking of racy content, well, have a look. It's a race.
Yeah, it's not ein Sprechen Sie Deutsch. That's my problem. Speaking English, it's the problem. It's ruining my night, obviously.
Please go back to the German more throughout the evening. Matt Andrew is now on screen in your replay for this evening. What's happened to his Porsche? Down into the Mercedes section, gets a rear a little bit unstable and's caught it nicely. So that's actually not too bad. He's lost, what, a second and a half?
Very good save there, in all honesty, because that could have been a big crash. We've seen that before in Mercedes. Very easy to have a big accident there. Rosenblatt in pit lane as well. Going back to the replay here, and it looks like we've lost connection there. So issues there for a few cars tonight. We've lost a couple of cars already. Winners Timothy Hancock and Liam Caplice out, as well as Timothy Hancock now.
And have a look at the Ferrari squad. They've been down on power most of the season. These guys have been struggling to get the Ferraris to go as quick as they need it to be, and the changes come through. This model of the Ferrari gets moved to legacy content, and all of a sudden it starts showing up at the top of the timing sheet. So that's apparently what it takes down the inside. Nice. What the dive bomb from Dyson! He came in there with his best vacuum cleaner face on and said, I am going to clean this mess up.
And you can see there Tim Orty trying to take advantage of that one as well. Could not quite get it done, but almost managed to get past Connell as well there. So Connell just caught a little bit napping there. Maybe Daiso just absolutely lost of the late breakers there into turn number 6. Fantastic job there for Andrew Dyson.
Wow! Oh my word! What a drive from Daiso. That was ascend and ascend on ascend. That's how deep he sent that one. It was down into the hairpin. He got it done. What a move from Daiso, but Connell had to let that one happen. Oh, check this replay out. He just sends it. Look at how crossed up that steering wheel is. He was understeering like it was going out of fashion quickly. And I tell you what, the season's changing. Get in and pick up understeer like that.
But yeah, that was a fantastic pass there. Really, really nice opportunity. We saw just in the background there was a BMW going very wide. That was Jack Boyd going a little bit wide through as they're just coming out of turn number 10. Yep, turn number 10, there we go. Sorry, my brain had to engage on the track map there for a second, but he managed to get that all into the right position. We've got a great race going on at the moment. Just looking through for the amateur drivers at the moment. The lead in the amateur class is Lachlan Capel. He's got Derek Orty just behind him and Timothy Harris in 3rd position at the moment. Daniel Webster's in 4th with Luke Fitt in 5th. So that class, they are pretty much nose to tail from around about P10 down. So they are very close to each other. So the AM class is very much all to play for there, but the pro as well, the pro class are not giving it up. The Porsche in the lead is Danny Davidson. The German fans go wild to see the Porsche in the lead. The Italian Tifosi will be willing those Ferraris on, giving them an extra 10 horsepower just with sheer willpower alone to try and get past that Porsche.
I'm just having a quick look at Paul Mansell there at this point in time as well. What a drive from him. Sorry, no, it was Mansell. It was Maverick Benson from 23rd on the grid all the way up to running, I believe, currently P8 at this point in time, and just in behind his teammates, saving a lot of fuel and holding Lachlan Capel up whilst he does so. So what a drive from him, and I'd say he's offset himself in terms of pit lane strategy, buy himself a little bit of track position, but he will have to pay that bill later on.
Yeah, that's it. It could come out to work. As you see, Daiso just looking to make that move. He was just sniffing around there behind the Porsche, just trying to get himself all in the mirrors there, just to try and throw Danny Davidson off. One of the strategies, of course, for racing is get yourself all in the mirrors of the driver in front of you, try and distract him a little bit. Will we see the last minute braking again from Daiso? Will it be a wunderbar pass from Dyson, or will it all go the wrong way for him? We'll find out at the end of this straight. Not looking like the Ferrari's got quite the speed it needs to get close enough, but will it work?
Well, here it comes. Towards the tail end of the straight, and on the anchors goes Davison, looking for the rear bumper. He is indeed getting deep down in there, was Andrew Dyson, but unfortunately, vacuum salesman he may be, vacuum salesman, he can't suck up another position into that front scoop. He's going to have a crack down here in a Mercedes. I thought for half a second he was going to show the nose. He's getting there, and Connell's just like, all right, you know what? You may have passed me, but I had to roll out to let that happen. I'm going to sit back here. You're getting quite aggressive. Maybe something will roll my way.
Yeah, just watching Daiso. He just got a little bit squirrely on the exit as well. The front just lost a little bit of grip almost. It looked like that front end just lost traction for a second, and he just had to save it a little bit. And that's going to cost him a little bit of time coming in to the stadium section, where the Ferrari should be a little bit more nimble, you'd say. It just seems to be just lacking that straight line pace again, but through the corners it is very mighty, and you can see there Dyson getting right onto the back of Davidson. He's going to try and make a move into the north curve. Not a great place to pass generally. Decides better of it. Now coming down to the open parabolic is going to be the ideal place. Was turn number 2 into turn number 3. That could be the opportunity for Dyson, but he can't get close enough down the short little straight.
He's looking for a little bit of retribution. Really good on the mid-corner there is Dyson. Now he's closer, I think, than the last lap. Keep your eyes peeled on Danny Davidson's Porsche up ahead. This race is maybe not yet for the effective race lead, but it is the race lead out on track. Different pit lane strategies from both competitors. Here he comes, Daiso to the inside, and he will send it successfully at the hairpin. And Jeff Connell says, you know what? I've seen what you can do. I think I'll follow you on through.
He doesn't quite make it though. Jeff Connell and Davidson side by side. Connell's going to have to give up this corner. Is he? No, he sticks it through, going in to turn number 7. Brave there from Connell, and Davidson just thinking discretion is the better part of valor there, because that could have ended up in a huge accident. Just having to ease off a little bit because Connell was not going to give up that line. He decided he was going to stick it there, and he stuck it there. Great move from Connell.
We're keeping half an eye on the lap times. They are starting to fall away a little bit. Fastest lap for Andrew Dyson at 36.8. And just having a look at Denny Davison, his fastest laps are 32.72. So they were getting held up a little bit in behind the Porsche. Connell's fastest lap of the race, so for 36.8 as well. So 4/10 quicker than that Porsche. It's just a matter of time. And almost, I get the feeling that Dyson might have been so wide there at the tail end of the lap that he may have actually picked up a slowdown penalty. Eyes on the amateur class leader, the battle that is very much running as hard as it can be. And it's going to be Lachlan Capel versus Daniel Webster. And I tell you what, the gap in this championship, from memory, was about 30 points, Carl.
Harris into pit lane, so Timothy Harris, the 4th position in the championship, into pit lane. But yeah, Daniel Webster and Capel going to be a fantastic little battle. Just glancing at my championship sheet, and I think you are right in the championship standings.
I know that one because Lachlan Capel and I are teammates in a Porsche Cup League on Thursday night, and he was telling me all the mathematics and what he needed to do. He has everything figured out.
It just shows the head on that young gentleman, the fact that he is able to get it all worked out ahead of time and getting that all ready. He knows what he needs to do tonight, and he might not have had the start that he wanted with that little bit of damage getting caught up in that turn 2 accident, but he is making it work now. Luckily, not too much damage on that Lamborghini. That could have been much worse than it was.
Yeah, 100% the case, and keep your eyes on this battle back here as well. Dale Carpenter involved in this one. It's tight as it gets. So, and wide running actually there, coming in and through Mercedes. So long way off track, and Adam Funslow's going to be the benefactor there of a mistake from Dale Carpenter.
Yeah, unfortunate mistake there, but another's misfortune is your own fortune, and you just have to try and pressure those guys into a bit of a mistake. Meanwhile, the leaders are catching up to the back of the first car to possibly go a lap down, or at least on track, and that's Andre Heimgartner. After that big accident we saw, he is getting chased down by the Ferraris, and we saw him right up there at the beginning of the race. Unfortunately, that big accident knocked him from P8 down to 36th position. Not much you can do in a situation like that, unfortunately.
Look, it's an unfortunate night, but he's definitely on the resurgence lately, so fingers crossed for Gartner that he's got things all figured out. Going down the escape road, I was just watching just in front of the guys back there as well. Funslow was, I believe that might have been Carleone. No, it might have been Carpenter again. So, look, cars off left, right, and centre, trying to get out of the way of as many people as they possibly can, and keep your eyes on the battle back up the front, because now that Dyson and Connell have gotten clear of Davison, they have absolutely bolted 1.6 seconds already back to Davison from the rear bumper of Jeff Connell, and a lap car in between them.
Yeah, just watching the battle between Connell and Dyson. Dyson's definitely setting the slightly faster laps. There's nothing between the two cars, but Connell looks to be a little bit more in control. It looks like Dyson's just got maybe used up a little bit more of the tyres and might be just struggling a little bit for some of the grip, just losing the rear end here and there, just running a little bit wide, a little bit scruffy here and there for Dyso, while Connell is just absolutely on point, just robotic in his laps, just absolutely there and not losing any of that rear end. So Dyson might be in a little bit of trouble towards the end of the race with tyres, whereas Connell might be in a safer spot.
Tell you what, just going to keep an eye on Lachlan Capel down there in the bottom corner. We just want to make sure that that his night is going as best as it possibly can. He's going to need a lot more than what he's currently getting over amateur class competitor in Daniel Webster. So something's going to happen for Daniel Webster. It is a long race. Anything can happen, but Webster's good enough to prevent it from happening, and that's been a real standout of his season, is his ability to stay clean of the major incidents when he needs to, and I think it's come to the fore again tonight. Getting through that lap 1 accident is crucial to his championship.
Yeah, Daniel Webster's got Derek Orty between himself and Capel at the moment, so he's got to get past Derek Orty in the 88 Ferrari. So that car sitting very pretty at the moment, but we still have many pit stops to go and many laps to go. 47 minutes remaining in this race tonight, so it is a long one here in the endurance round at Hockenheim Ring. Going to be a fantastic race for sure, and look, it's been a cracker so far.
been a cracker so far, but it hasn't been a cracking season so far. The numbers each and every week continuing to light us up to the point whereby changes have had to be made to the schedule multiple times just because we're expecting to have smaller grids than was expected. So we all opted to remove the Chicago Street Circuit round and swap it out for a Le Mans round instead. A good decision, I think, by the series admins and Sam Lehman and Matty Cardiglione. What a job they've done the last couple of seasons, and I think the proof is in the pudding. They're both really enjoying their racing to the point that Lehman was on the podium a couple of weeks ago.
And we have pit stops happening. Lachlan Capel and Tim Audie in pit lane at the moment. So the second round of stops happening. Guy Leach coming in as well. So the second or third round? Second round for those guys, but third round for a few of the drivers as well. So we will see a few different drivers coming in and those different strategies paying off. Up the front, it is still an absolute battle for first place between Dyson and Connell. Connell is right on the tailpipes of Dyson. Really getting a good view of the back end of that Ferrari and enjoying that beautiful engine note as well.
Yeah, so keeping our eyes right up and down the field. Davison's not done too bad. The gap's now started to stretch. He's maintaining the gap at this point in time. So he is staying attached to those leaders, and as the lead non-Ferrari... look, I'm going to be honest. I think that the Ferrari didn't receive the same balance of power changes as it is a car that's moving to legacy content. That's typically the case. So I'm wondering whether or not there was a whole host of drivers jumping on board the car swap just to get to the more powerful machine for the last race.
Yeah, look, it's one of the things. It is tricky. I mean, obviously the admins will have been doing their job and balancing through the weekend and making sure everything was up to snuff and up to par as well. So they'd have kept an eye on it. But it just looks like probably with that weight reduction as well, the Ferrari's just a little bit more balanced around here at the Hockenheim ring. With those fast sweeping corners, a little bit less weight is very much a welcome thing sometimes.
Yeah, especially with tyre model changes and constant changes of direction. Look at those brakes glow from the Eddie Davison white Porsche up at the pointing end of things, and I'm wondering whether or not he's trying to keep touch with them, whether he's pushing on. I wonder if Connell's saving fuel a little bit. He tends to love a good fuel save strategy, just Jeff Connell.
Yes,
more pit stops happening.
So yeah, we've seen Connell in the past doing some great fuel saves and doing some great things in general, and it would be nice to see him get a W next to his name for the end of this season. It's not been the Jeff Connell season that we saw last time out, but he still had a very, very strong race indeed. But Andrew Dyson, once again, having another strong race. We've seen it before with Daiso in that Ferrari. He's been in that Ferrari all season long as well, not jumping to it at the end of the season. He has been contesting hard to try and get that Ferrari up there, and we've seen him up there before this round. A couple of times we've seen him up in the booth after the race, and he's going to be contesting once more.
I've been keeping my eyes back on the pack as well towards Funslow and Cardiglione. They're going side by side at this point in time. Trying to move down the inside was Funslow in a Mercedes corner, and I tell you what, they're both having a cracking time. They're both on the radio saying how much fun it is to be fighting each other, even if it is a mile off the pace of where they normally would be. Yeah,
it's like 15th, 16th position. It's not too bad, you know. It's one of those things. It happens. It's still a decent spot in the field of this strength and of these numbers as well. Remember, we started out with 42 cars. If you can get up to P15 out of 42 cars with this strength of field, that's not a bad job at all. And thank you very much to Brandon Hughes for paying homage to our stream and letting us know how good it was looking. Thank you very, very much for that.
Carl, we are we're just past the third distance of the race. Have you got more quiz questions for me? I love a good brain teaser.
Do I have questions for you about this circuit? What do you think about that?
Do you have questions? Well, you can ask questions about me as well. My eyes are blue. Brown hair.
I mean, we could ask a Scotty Rankin quiz, but you might have a slight advantage over that.
Good Charlotte's my favourite band. Yes, I knew that one.
You're wrong. It's actually it is actually the Foo Fighters. Sorry, you got.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you don't know yourself well enough, obviously, and Just not
Stuart,
too much,
hang on. Can we just focus in for a moment? Stuart, are you giving yourself props in the chat? Is that what I see there? I definitely didn't notice anything at all.
I'd just like to say no, absolutely not. I think it's the bot in the chat bot, just saying some stuff.
Yeah, well, that chat bot does absolutely love you. Stuart, did you want to do the second question to the chat as well?
Look, absolutely. I don't think it worked quite as well the first time around as I had hoped. So let's do it. Let's do the old quiz style, Carl, with the second question. Have you got it queued up there, or do you need some assistance?
I believe I know this one.
Okay.
I think I got this one ready. Of course, when was the first Formula One race held at Hockenheim?
Oh.
Now,
That's a cracker.
we have 4 different years: 1968, 1970, 1974, or 1977.
Oh, I hate you right now.
I'll give you a hint. It's the same year that Brazil won the World Cup with Pelé as captain.
Was that 70? I can't answer yet. I'll answer later.
So if anyone in the crowd is looking for a tip, that's the tip.
Which reminds me, Stuart.
I think I've even stumped
I
Carl with that one.
love your enthusiasm for soccer, by the way.
Yes.
See, I know nothing about football. It's
Hey, he called football. I was in an American Discord server earlier today, and they started a football channel. I said, "Oh yes, how's Manchester United going to go this season?" They all looked at me funny.
I'm English. Just
There you go.
and, we use our feet to kick the ball. That's handball. That other thing. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Up at the front, meanwhile, it is Daiso and Connell battling away. We've got Jack Boyd in third, Joshua Fitt in fourth, and Paul Mansell in fifth. Meanwhile, the AM leader is Luke Fitt at the moment. Yet to start Aaron DeLuca in second, and Phil Orty in third for the AMs.
It's good resurgence here for Jack Boyd. He had an unusually low qualifying effort for himself. He's worked his way up to third. Still got to stop a second time yet, but he's up 7 places.
But 68, 70, 74, or 77, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. I can hear you typing away in Google there, and try.
That wasn't Google. That was Twitch chat. I'm not looking this one up. I refuse. I'm a straight shooter. Put it this way: if I was to get into an accident and I thought I was potentially at fault, I'm the kind of guy who'd radio myself through to race control. So
I love it.
Oh, look, it is part of the fun, of course. The ANSCAR champion of last season, Edward Foster, we used to do trivia quizzes back when we first met at a pizza shop, doing them pretty much all night long, every night of the week through motorsport, and everybody in that pizza shop hated us for some reason. I don't know why.
How rude.
that's probably because they've got poor taste.
Yeah, how rude.
Absolutely. Lachlan Capel doing a good job. Currently down in 19th position, I believe. Yep, 19th position, but that will change as soon as pit stops have gone through. He has taken some extra fuel on board, so he's going to be trying to go for a little bit longer.
Lads, I just did some research actually on the racing server as well. Sorry to cut you off, Carl. I actually just had a look because I just went, hang on, I've just seen funds logo wide at turn number 1 again. Penalties tonight, incident point limits 22, and then every 9 incident points after that. So it is a funny one, but look, Sam Lehman likes to throw us around a fair bit and show the drivers around for a little bit of a loop sometimes with some funny numbers. But I have a feeling there will be drivers that hit that 22 tonight in the Enduro.
Speaking of
turn
Sam,
1.
Sorry, Scotty, go on.
No, go ahead. All I was going to say was turn 1 was turn 1 probably the biggest one to trip over.
I had a funny conversation with Sam Lehman, series admin, just before series admin. That's underselling it. Series organizer, really. About the dark race, of course, that we've never forgotten that we had at Lime Rock Park a season ago. And he was telling me about how he drove around at Road Atlanta. He was doing we're talking about Petit Le Mans, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. And he had the headlights taken out of his car, and that race finishes in the dark. And had to drive the last 6 minutes with no headlights. And I said to him, well, that must be where you got the idea for the Lime Rock Park round. Just to challenge the drivers.
Well, at least he had some experience. Oh, Andrew Dyson going wide there into the stadium section, getting onto the gravel. That's going to lose him some time getting through turn number 12. Going to give Jeff Connell a little bit of a sniff here. I think Connell is actually quite happy sitting where he is behind Dyso, just for fuel saving mode, because he's just sitting in the draft there and just not really pushing him too hard. And Dyson is just punching that nice big hole in the air. We see it, of course, more in the oval series, where the car up in front will help the car behind it save a little bit of fuel. But at the moment, I think Jeff Connell's pretty happy sitting where he is, just to save a little extra snippet of fuel for the end of the race. It might give him a little bit of an advantage in the pit lane, save him a couple of milliseconds or two.
I believe we're not far away from these guys coming through the pit lane as well. Most of the guys in behind them have pit. Jack Boyd is in the pit lane as we speak. Scott Gray as well. So multiple drivers starting to cycle through the pit lane to get their next round of stops out of the way. Davison, I believe, has made his stop as well. So yes, indeed he has. So we've got, 5 cars that haven't stopped yet? 4 cars that haven't stopped yet by the look of things?
Yeah, so we've got a few cars out there. I've got a feeling Jeff Connell's going to go 1 lap longer than Dyso here. I think we might see Jeff Connell try to go 1 lap longer. I reckon we're going to see Dyson in on this lap or the next one. I've got a feeling it's probably going to be the next one. And Jeff Connell is going to try to go 1 lap longer as... Oh, who is that? Around one of them.
That's Jack Boyd.
Yes.
That's not around.
That's not what you...
Is that penalty territory?
That's definitely an unsafe pit entry. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got a 40-second stop and hold for that one. 100%, it's an unsafe pit entry.
He must have been so desperate for fuel there that he wasn't going to make it round for another lap.
That was tricky.
Speaking of guys not making it around for another lap, Dyson in. So first, one of the last of our leaders to cycle down through pit lane. And I'm getting notifications up on screen that Derek Audie and Luke Fitt, by the look of things, are fighting, it might be Josh Fitt, tooth and nail. I saw them change spots on the leaderboard a couple times there on the timing tower. So that'll be on. Jeff Connell continues for another lap.
He's going the longest out of that lead pack because we got Paul Mansell and Brendan Levine coming in. So Connell was indeed just saving fuel, sitting behind Andrew Dyson. I shouldn't say stuck behind him. He was just sitting behind him on purpose there to go another lap. So getting a little bit of extra fuel in the tank to manage one more lap out there. So Connell will try for that 1 extra lap. That's going to help him out towards the end of the race, means he's going to take a shorter stop for the final one. Nobody's going to be able to make it home from here to the end. They'll all need 1 more stop from here at least, unless Connell can do something magic and get another 4 or 5 laps out of attack, which I don't think is possible. There's incident behind Connell there. Just trying to see who that was. Sorry, I think it might have been Andrew Hayes getting caught up there with Andrew Hayes and Sam Lehman there. So Andrew Hayes and Sam Lehman just going into the corner. Andrew Hayes just turning in, getting caught up, spinning him around a little bit. And just behind them, it was Ross Rizzo who got lucky to avoid that incident.
Just got to say there, Dave Douglas is jumping into the chat saying that he sent some stars to FGME cast once and he can see where they've been spent well. So that's very nice of him to say. Absolutely, all the star contributions go back into the channel. So appreciate that one there, Dave.
Yeah, thank you so much as always, Dave. It's always a pleasure having you around, and look, it's good to see that casting couch making you some money. So nice that money is being put on towards us as well. As Jeff Connell comes into pit lane, so Connell is coming in now. He couldn't make it 1 more lap, so he managed 16 laps in that stint, the longest of anyone so far.
Probably time to, we'll wait for this pit cycle to resolve itself first, as we'll keep our eyes on Dyson, making his way down and past the main straight. There it is. Oh, I love this picture in a picture. That's a very long stop for Jeff Connell. He is completely and utterly eclipsed by Dyson. I wonder whether or not Dyson short pitted there, just to make sure he had track position.
Yeah, 6 seconds.
Dyso was stationary for 14 seconds, Connell 20 seconds. So Connell has taken a full tank of fuel, whereas Dyso has decided to take a little bit less fuel. This could pay out for Dyson, though. If he can get the speed up now, he's going to have a little bit of a lighter Ferrari now. He should have a little bit more speed, and he should be able to get it a little bit towards there. He's going to have to come in again no matter what, same as Jeff Connell. Both of those drivers have to stop again. Of course, Jeff Connell won't have to stop as long next time round, but if Dyson can build up a nice bit of a gap here, and take less fuel as well, then that's going to help him out. So he's hoping that he can take the speed advantage with that slightly lighter Ferrari. So he's going to try his best with that one. Slightly different strategy there between the two drivers, and it has led to a little bit of a gap, about 7 seconds on track.
Yeah, and well, it's also going to play mind games with Jeff Connolly. We thought, for sure, I am so good on fuel here. I've saved as much as I possibly can. I'm going to be able to keep saving, and I'm just going to jump Dyson on the pit lane. While Dyson says, no, I'm not going to let you sit in my draft. I'm going to pull a wild card out of the hat here. It's basically us two on for the race lead at this point of the race. So let's make sure that you have to push as hard as possible and can't just sit there and save.
Currently sitting in P10 overall is the AM class leader, Lachlan Capel, up there, P10, first in the amateur class, doing another stellar job in that Lamborghini. Fantastic for him. He's got Jack Boyd chasing him down at the moment, with Derek Orty, the next car in line for the amateur series. So Derek Orty's going to be trying to chase him down a little bit. He's got Luke Fitt behind him, Daniel Webster in 4th position currently, and Timothy Harris in 5th in the Locked On Lads racing car. Of course, Locked On iRacing. If you want to grab all the results, if you can't make the races, if you need to catch up on results, Locked On iRacing, your place for the Aussie online action. Catch the Oz Pass there, and of course Anne's car results. Tim Harris will read out this series, and myself for the Anne's car stuff.
I'm just waiting for them to approach you, Carl, and ask for trivia questions to include in the podcast, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, look, right, one can dream. Did you want to answer, Scotty?
That's what I was going to say. Is it 77 that the first Formula 1 race was?
Oh, disgraceful. You fell for my trap. You fell for my cunning trap. That was the second race. That was the
Okay, it was 74.
No, 1970. It replaced the French Grand Prix after the French went... the French and, of course, the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring for safety concerns, because they did not want to race there after safety concerns. So 1970 was the first Grand Prix at Hockenheim for the Grand Prix circuit for Formula 1.
There you go, 1 from 2. Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah. Some improvement.
Yeah.
Stuff there for the next stream, which is good.
Yeah, you're doing somewhat okay. Look,
I'm not going to answer the remainder of the questions.
You're not going to answer the remainder of this question.
Hang on. Down the inside here, is that Jack Boyd? I think on Lachlan Capel just there on screen. I think it was. Yeah, indeed it is. So Lachlan Capel will make way out of the top 10, and Jack Boyd will go ahead and step in. Actually, maybe he didn't get a 40-second stop and hold. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought. Maybe he got away with it.
Got away with it for sure. He absolutely got away with that one. So I was going to ask for a bonus question. Who won that race? In 1970. Prost.
No, that's too early for him. Far out.
It's the only posthumous world champion. That's an easy one now. Yeah, Stuart gets it. Stuart gets the bonus point there.
Lucky me, particularly after that question you asked me last night about 3 brothers and their sister racing it wherever it was. Jesus Christ.
Oh dear, I'm enjoying this way too much.
That was one that blew me out of the water. This is what happens when you're not around, Scotty. I get these real curly ones.
I was listening to that. It was great, actually. I think Stuart should be forced to answer all trivia questions going forward. The reaction's too good.
It makes it very fun, doesn't it? Indeed. Oh no, I have way too much fun doing this. I must admit, I do enjoy causing all of you pain. That's that one over and done with. But we do have a great race going on as well. It's not just all trivia questions and fun here tonight. We have got some fantastic racing on track here tonight as well, all the way down really. That gap at the front has eased out, but there is still another pit stop to come. Will Jeff Connell be able to take a shorter stop at the end and make up that advantage? Will we see Connell manage to do that? That's the question. So it's not all over at the front. Danny Davidson still sitting there in P3, so if either of those leaders make a mistake, he is still sitting in a great position for that. Paul Mansell just sitting behind him as well in 4th, and then 5th is Joshua Fitt in that fantastic looking Porsche that very much reminds me of a watermelon.
Yeah, so things to keep you... Well, I almost got through with my next comment, and then I realised you said it was the wrong watermelon livery, that one. next couple battles just to keep our eyes on is obviously the one that's on your screen at this point in time. A phenomenal battle it is between, it's Timothy Audie who leads this pack, Maverick Benson, Jack Boyd and Lachlan Capel. Derek Audie just hanging off the back of this one, and we'll have to keep our ears out for how Paul Mansell and Joshua Fitt are doing, keeping my eyes on those because those guys are locked quite closely together as well. And Brendan Levine down the outside!
Jack Boyd! The amateur putting a move on the pro there. What a absolute cheeky move there from Cable. He's not wanting to get held up by the pros. He's saying, look, if you're not going fast enough, I'm going to pass you. The etiquette, of course, is to just not race the pros too hard as an AM because it's two separate series. But at the moment, Capel's got the speed to try and get past them, and he wants to get up past Boyd and Maverick Benson at the moment. So he needs to do that because he's got a fast-charging Derek Audie trying to chase him down at the moment. There is a bit of a gap between those two cars, but he has to watch out because that gap will be ever closing.
I wonder whether or not Jack Boyd is trying to run some alternative fuel strategies right now, and Lachlan Cable says, I need to get going, I need to get through, and I've got to push this. So Cable's got to breathe here, rein himself back in a little bit. But we will keep our eyes on this one without doubt. Having said that, last time by, just before they come by the line again, they actually matched the times of Danny Davison pretty much this entire pack right here. So keep your eyes on that one as well.
Yeah, look, battles all the way through the pack at the moment as Matty Carleone spun it in the final set of corners. He's gone across. Don't know if he's got any aid from that one. I'm just going back to have a bit of a look-see.
He's in pit lane.
Damage. He's in pit lane now, yes, but he was spinning at the final corner. So here he is going into the final corner, and it just loses it on his own, goes across the drag strip, and then coming back onto the road. Is he going to clip somebody?
Oh.
Yes, he does. So,
and Guy Leach was the car that was collected up in that one because he's also in pit lane at this point in time. So I have a fair idea that Carleone will stick his hand up and go, "Yep, sorry boys, that one's 100% on me. I'm going to cop the penalty for that one."
Yeah, that was a bit of a shut and close case on that one. So yeah, easy to see with that one. Unfortunately, unsafe entry back onto the racetrack, and look, easy to do sometimes. It's so easy to do because it's such a tricky corner to watch out for, and it's so easy to go into a corner like that unseen. So very unfortunate there for Guy Leach as well. He's just come through there, nothing he could do, carrying that speed through there. He's tried to slow down, try to turn it, but that car was not turning. The only good thing you could say for Guy Leach is it kind of bounced him into pit lane.
Yeah, well, I mean, excessively load limited at that spot on the circuit too, so it's not a huge deal they can really do about that one. So, well, that's how she all shakes out for Matty Carleone. It's been a torrid night at the office for series admin, but hey, look, everyone else is having a fantastic time, except for Guy Leach, mate.
24 minutes remaining in this race. Now is the critical time. Anyone that pits from now onwards can just about make it to the end of this race. So expect final pit stops to come through shortly. When will we see Andrew Dyson come into pit lane? We know he short fueled a little bit. We know he didn't take a full tank on. So he's going to have to come in a little bit earlier than Jeff Connell. How long will Connell be able to stick it out there? Will he be able to do something magical and make it to the end? Very much doubt it. But he might try for something here tonight. He's going to need a splash and dash for sure, but how much of a splash and dash will it be? That's going to be the question.
Well, keep your eyes on both screens on the right-hand side. Is that Webster crawling all over Scott Gray? I think it is. So that is going to be a phenomenal battle, and that may have some sort of say in the final standings of the amateur class. Even though Scott Gray is actually not a part of the amateur class, he may be holding up Daniel Webster, so Webster might want to get on by him and continue his forward progress throughout the field so far this evening, hopefully picking up a few spots along the way. Keeping my eyes on the left-hand side screen as well, Lachlan Capel. So that's that is the battle for the amateur championship on screen. On the left-hand side, the challenger, the guy that's 30 points adrift. On the right-hand side, the series leader. And it is on. Cars starting to file through pit lane out of that pack as well. Capel comes in. Let's see what Webster does. Webster's got enough fuel left in the tank. I think Capel was hoping that the field in front of him, the cars directly ahead, weren't coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, he's going to be very much caught up with a lot of drivers, and I think he just caught somebody in the back panel there as well. Just possibly a slight little glance on Maverick Benson, possibly. So just a slight little tap as they came into pit lane, as he was a little bit slow checking up there. No major damage though, so that's the good news for them. That will just be a little tiny boop on the back of Maverick Benson's car and to the front of Lachlan Capel's.
No battles up and down the field, continuing as they were this evening, and I've got my eye on a battle with Glenn Boyd in it. We called him Jeff Boyd, apparently, and when this is exactly where Lachlan Capel's going to rejoin this racing surface. That's Glenn Boyd that's just gone by in there, so this is not good for Capel. He is going to want to get the elbows out straight away, and he does, straight down the inside of Glenn Boyd. He's just come out of the pit lane, and he wants to get racy, does Capel. He wants to attach himself to the back end of the pack that he was with, and the rest of these guys will start to file off in a pit lane, and you'd probably expect, with a lot of cars together on track like this, a bunch of them will go to pit lane this lap, so they've got to be careful. Capel, once again, shows the nose to the inside. He's going to send it at the hairpin, and Glenn Boyd is going to have to yield. Yep, down the inside is Capel. Does he get back to the throttle aggressively enough to get that one done? Not quite. Still side by side into the next corner. It's a right-hander, so Boyd will more than likely yield at this one. Finally gets it done, does Capel. No, Boyd is still sending it down the inside. He's not giving up on this one. Don't you let him by, Glenn Boyd. Make his life difficult. He does. Finally cedes to Lachlan Capel, and Capel would not be wanting to have seen that on his lap out of the pits. That is a championship that could have gone begging there. He has to be so careful. Glenn Boyd is not in the hunt for a championship, and sometimes you've just got to make the way that you drive around other drivers very different in those situations, Carl.
Yeah, look, that's all important part of a championship, is getting the outlap, getting the in-lap, and getting those passes made on cars that might be holding you up a tiny bit made.
A few cars filing through pit lane out of that group as well. I believe that was Funds, though I think Stuart was whispering in our ear. Thank you, Stuart. That voice in my ear does have a name.
As well, though, is just getting himself between those cars means he's got another car between himself and the championship leader when they all go through pit lane. So very important move there for Lachlan Capel. Really nice to see that racing going on at the moment on track.
Just having a look at the car that's filed out just behind that. Okay, it was Audi. Sorry, my apologies. I thought it might have been Dyson, but my eyes do deceive me. So ignore what I was saying there. I'm a little bit of an idiot sometimes. Can't read car numbers on the front of the cars. It's 21, it says, actually, as down the inside on Glenn Boyd as well. So another car that'll be seeking to make that one. Phil Audi doesn't quite get back to the power enough to get that move done. Keeping your eyes peeled, though, on the leader at this time is Dyson is still out there encountering a whole bunch of traffic as he sees it at this point in time.
He is encountering traffic. He was setting some really quick laps. He's managed to put about an 8.5 second gap over Jeff Connell now, up from 7.5 seconds beforehand. This might be opportunity for Daiso to pit in. Now he's come up to all this traffic. It might be worth considering coming into pit lane now, serving that pit penalty, getting that extra fuel on board to get him to the end of the race, just so he doesn't have to deal with all this traffic. So it might save him a little bit of time in the long run. So we'll see how that one works out.
Car off down at turn 12, doing their best impersonation of Sebastian Vettel. We'll see this one, I think, here in a moment. It actually gets contact, and it's Tim Audi from Lachlan Capel, and it's all going wrong in the closing phases of this race. All he needs is a clean finish from here for Lachlan Capel, and he has just put the front end of his Lamborghini squarely on, well, not even squarely, on the rear bumper there of Tim Audi. That may incur a penalty, and that may leave the race results in the championship standings as unofficial at the end of this.
Well, look, it's always unofficial until we finally get the say-so from the series administrators, but that is definitely going to be something that's going to be looked at and could be a deciding factor in the championship tonight. That is exactly what he did not need to do. So that is disastrous. And we heard from Kevin last time out that he was a little bit worried. Nerves were starting to play up a little bit into this race, and that might just be showing now. So big moment there for the championship. You saw the car coming out.
Actually redressed it. Yeah, he's picked him up and let him back by. He wanted to continue on.
Move. Very smart move.
That he resolves this one out on the track, and out on the track it stays. He does not want a trip to the steward's office a la Verstappen and Hamilton.
Danny Davison and Luke Turner in pit lane for their final stop. They're going to come in, get some fuel on board and make it to the end. And see how those ones go to the end of the race. Now it's going to be a question of who's kept their tyres nice and working conditions, of course, because you get to that stage of the race where the tyres are going to start to fall off a little bit. We have seen it in the past that drivers have suffered towards the final stint. The one good thing, though, of course, is the sun is going down. You can see that beautiful night sky here in Germany is very bright, but that sun is setting. Temperature is dropping. The car headlights are now doing a lot more work than they were before, and lower track temperatures means a little bit less work on the tyres, so they should be able to get through this one without too much issue, and that lower track temperature will be helping them out for sure, as Daiso has come into pit lane.
Yeah, and it is a lovely autumn evening over there in the north of Germany. So let's see what Dyson can do at this pit stop. Has a pit lane debt to pay, and I believe Connell's just gone past for another lap, and indeed he has. So he clearly senses something in the track position that he's currently in. Dyson's gone, I'd say, probably as long as he possibly can, has filed through the pit lane. So race story about to be decided at this point in time too.
Connell
be wondering.
Will stick it out there for another 4 or 5 laps, I would say. So we won't see Connell in for another 4 or 5 laps. We've got 16 minutes remaining. That's about 10 laps of this circuit. So he's going to come in with about 5 to go to the final little sprint of the race. But Connell has got much less fuel on board now. He is going to be a bit lighter. So he's going to try and set those fast laps now for Jeff Connell. So we'll see how this one goes for him. And he's just got to keep it clean, keep it fast, and keep it out on the track without too much issue. There's a little bit of traffic starting to creep up for him, but not too much at the moment.
Yeah, there's about, I'm just having a quick look at my track map, and I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars ahead of him within, say, the next 10 to 15 seconds ahead of him. So it is not a clear track ahead of him, which
Just
makes me think...
Back to Andrew Dyson and have a look at the mess in front of him that he's coming up to. There is a lot of cars in front of him at the moment. That traffic could be a deciding factor tonight. If Connell can stick it out there for another 5 laps.
Well, a lot of those cars
make it through here.
A lot of those cars are still ahead of him, Carl, though. They'll have to pit, so they will just file off. So he's currently down in P5 after pitting, is Daiso. We'll see what he's able to make of this one.
But those cars could be sticking it out there for another 3 or so laps. So if Daiso starts to catch up with them, he's got to race them for position, and that could really cost him a lot of time out on track.
It could be the deciding factor. It's all still yet to play on a lovely looking autumn evening in Germany. The lights on the cars starting to throw the final bits of light of the season. We are 15 minutes to go. We're inside 15 minutes to go on Aus ProAm Sim Series season number 4. Probably the opportunity to say a big thank you to the sponsors that have made this season possible. It has been, I would say, probably the best season that we've had so far in Aus ProAm Sim Series. So a big shout out to our title sponsor, Computer Technology Corporations, for all your IT needs. Computer Technology Corporations is that one. Big shout out to HJ Plant Repairs, who've been on board since season number 1, simrigs.com. Thank you for coming back for season number 2 of your support. It has been an absolute cracker. Phoenix Smoke Repairs, Phoenix Smokers, not Smoke Repairs, and 93 VC. Those are the series sponsors. If you want to get involved with the Aus ProAm Sim series, don't hesitate to reach out to them in social media. Find Sam Lehman out on track if you can. Join the Discord, get involved, because those guys are always looking for more series sponsors. And well, with the racing that they've seen this season, who really can say that it's been a waste of money? I don't think anyone can. It's been a cracker.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fantastic season.
Just wanted to jump in and bring to your attention, we've got Lachlan Capel on screen at the moment with that redress situation that he was involved in. Might have just seen off to the left of the screen there, looking at it, a light blue Porsche, and that is the Porsche of Daniel Webster. They are on the same stop strategy, and Phil Orty has to pit. So we have Lachlan Capel and the challenger as well, Daniel Webster, who's the current amateur series title holder, and they're going to finish this race out like they've spent the season attached at the hip by a string.
and a lot of that margin that Capel had built up over the race, he's thrown away in one move down onto the hairpin in the final sector. So he's got to work hard and build that back up once again. So Capel currently sits just in front of Webster. There's only a couple seconds between them out on track, a couple of Audis right in front of Capel as well. So he will have to fight his way through those pit stop strategies to play a part. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 cars ahead of him in terms of AM standings. We'll see if they cycle through the box this time by.
Yeah, very much so. Pit stop's going to be all to play for here tonight. It's going to be a interesting one. I'm just doing some maths quickly. So chat away, Scotty.
Okay. That'll be a drive-through penalty for incident limit.
Watch out for Timothy Harris here tonight. Timothy Harris could be making it on no more stops, so he might be able to just creep through this one to the end, and if he's fuel saving, he might be in with a shout at the moment. So keep an eye out for Timothy Harris. He's just on the cusp of making it, so watch out for that.
Drive-through. What did I say about drive-through penalties for incident point limits? You've got to be careful at turn number 1. Well, you can guarantee that Lachlan Capel has had at least 8 incident points added to his tally from 2 separate contacts with other cars, especially on his way into pit lane. He needed his last sector of the race to be clean. It hasn't been, and there goes the championship for young Capel. He's had a phenomenal season. He's been there. He's been in amongst it, but it's going to be cleanliness at the last. It's going to cost it. Jeff Connell has just made contact with, I think it was Guy Leach.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't call it too early, Scotty. Anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does. Going down towards turn number 2, Connell's just got into the side of Guy Leach as they were trying to get through the corner, and you can see Connell absolutely flying. He was really trying to push it. Guy Leach spun it getting into the corner, and then came across in front of Jeff Connell. So you see Guy Leach just spinning it in front of the Sam Lehman, I think that might have been. And yeah, just got across, and Jeff Connell just getting a tap, and that's really going to affect his race, because Connell did not need to lose that time, because that's going to affect him. He's now got a gap of 22 seconds over Andrew Dyson. Pit lane time.
He'll be in this lap for sure.
It's yeah, that's really hurt him, because his chance has now effectively vanished. Brendan Levine's currently sitting in 2nd place, but he's going to have to come in very shortly. He's not going to make it to the end. Maverick Benson could pull a little bit of an upset here tonight. He might be able to just make it to the end now without stopping again. So he should actually be able to make it. So up in P9 at the moment. Sorry, at the moment. So interesting stuff.
You're keeping your eyes on corrected running order. You're about to get your answers. Who is going to come out of this pit lane strategy the benefactor? Will it be Dyson with the short stop in the middle of the race? He got himself out of traffic early, or is it going to be Jeff Connell who found traffic just now? He has got the shorter stop to do of the 2 of them, and he's been punching out really quick laps. Eyes on the prize for Connell. He has the last bay, so it's going to be a short shoot from the end of the pit lane out back into traffic.
Daiso has this absolutely. That incident really cost Jeff Connell a huge amount. You can see Dyson just shooting past there now.
Completely gone.
Connell needed to have about 32 second gap over Andrew Dyson to make that one work. And unfortunately, he did not have that. That incident may have cost him a little bit of time, and that's also. That's dropped him down into P2, and he's dropped down to about 9 seconds behind Andrew Dyson. So that cost him a little bit of time there at the end. We saw Dyson had about an 8-second gap coming into the start of, well, when he came into pit lane, he had 8 seconds over Jeff Connell. I imagine that gap would have been much shorter had that incident not happened.
Yeah, and I'd say with, what have we got left? We're under 10 minutes left to go on the season. That will be signed, sealed, and delivered. Daiso will know that, and he will back the pace right down. He will play gap management from here to the end of the motor race.
Well, throwing those curses out tonight, aren't you, Scotty?
I love throwing the mockers on people, because that way they can always impress me when they do something new, weird, and wonderful. Well, I mean, we did just talk about incident point limit for Lachlan Capel. I mean, could the incident point limit... Daiso has been pushing it quite aggressively at turn 1 most of the race.
He has indeed, and we've seen him across the track a few times, especially across the first set of corners, and even through the stud curve in the final sector there, turn 16. We've seen him out of bounds a couple of times, so he has been really close. Aaron DeLuca having a good night as well, running up there, having a bit of a battle at the moment too. Just trying to look at my timing screens with Tim Audie, I believe it is. So DeLuca's been having a really nice run out there tonight and doing a good job up in P14 at the moment.
Yeah, and he's going to need to do a little bit more if he wants to become Lachlan Capel's best friend at the end of the season. Now, no, I'm not. That's not me just saying, hey, Lachlan Capel he would hate to win it that way. That's the kind of kid he is. He would not want to win it that way. But at the end of the day, be a lot of lessons here to be learned for Lachlan Capel, won't there?
Very much so. And look, the big question now, Tim Harris, man on screen, will he make it to the end on fuel? It is going to be touch and go. He is very much on the limits of fuel at the moment, and if that BMW has got a little bit of extra fuel in its sock somewhere, he's going to have to take advantage of it, because by my count, he's going to be about a lap shy. So we might see him come in on the very last lap to get a little bit of extra fuel, but he might...
Has he tried under the seats, Carl? Yeah. Has he tried under the seats? In the boot? Has he opened up the boot?
The drinks holder, of course. I mean, you know, he might have some schnapps in there. Just pour that into the old fuel tank, and that will get you across the line. Probably give you an extra 60 horsepower as well.
If there's an oily rag, I heard cars can run on the smell from those. Just waft that over the fuel tank a few times. That might do it.
The amount of times I've run a car off an oil and rag. Yeah.
Now, guys, I just want to, obviously we're 4 seasons deep now into Aus ProAm, so we've got a little bit of history on some of these drivers now, which helps. Last season, if you would cast your minds back to the end of last season, Daniel Webster from nowhere took out the championship. He needed an unenviable set of results to get that done. It was basically a DNF for the leader going into the last round, which happened right at the end of that race. So again here, if he backs to back it, he'll also be the first back-to-back Aus ProAm Series champion.
Don't you dare, Stuart. No. I mean, I know I've thrown the mockers on people tonight, but how dare you? That is evil, my good friend.
Just throwing the facts out there for the pundits, mate. They need to know what's going on.
I love me a good statistic, but that is the dirtiest one I've heard so far. Well, has he got a shot, young Lachlan Capel? He's going to need a miracle, but the benefit of iRacing is that miracles happen, and sometimes they require tows back to pit lane.
Yeah,
Andrew Dyson, though.
Have to remember that as commentators, we have great power, but we have great responsibility that comes with that. And you guys are abusing that responsibility at the moment. So you've got to be careful. You may lose your licenses here tonight.
Doing what I can.
Look, to be perfectly fair, Daniel Webster, last season, I don't necessarily think he deserved it. You're right. At the last, he drove a clean race in the last race of the season to come home and win the title, and that's all he could do and all he needed to do. I think this season has been far and away the best I've seen Daniel Webster drive. It has been consistent just about every week of the season. Talking about wild things happening, there's a wild thing on the screen. I think that was Glenn Boyd just returning to the track right in front of leader Andrew Dyson. Well, if there's something that Jeff Connell wanted to see, it was that happening right in front of the leader. Oh my word.
That was a big, scary moment there. Dustin Fletcher going across the front of them in the Porsche, missing those cars, thankfully. Not what Dustin Fletcher would have wanted to have happen. He was running up in 18th position before that incident, so that is going to cost him severely.
Replays up on the screen now. Fletcher rejoins the racing surface from pit lane, and I think he just broke a lot earlier than Glenn Boyd was expecting him to. And, well, he's just had a trip through pit lane. He might have to tow it back there for another one. No, he's going to try and crawl it back away. So it'll be 2 trips to pit lane and 2 laps for Dustin Fletcher.
Well, seeing we've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, I might as well ask a quick question. Which F1 driver raced at Hockenheim over a 20-year period in Formula 1?
Fernando Alonso.
Scotty?
It's got to be. Is it? Well, when did it start? It's not Lauder, is it?
Formula 1.
Formula.
Yeah.
Raikkonen. Raikkonen?
No, you're both very wrong.
It's earlier than that, right? It's got to be earlier than that.
His first race was 1993 at Hockenheim.
Felipe Massa. No, that's too early for him.
Michael Schumacher.
Right,
Of
well,
course, coming back with Mercedes later on in his career, raced at Hockenheim in 2012 and 2013, and that gave him that one. So 20 years at Hockenheim.
there you go. So 2.5 minutes left in this season. Just stick around at the end of the race. We'll have post-race interviews, of course, as always, with the drivers. And we've got a little bit of a special preview for you about Season 5. So just stick around for that one. It'll be straight after before.
Say what, Carl?
After, before? I don't know. Is it going to be after or before? We'll squeeze in the preview either after or before the driver interviews. And we're going to have, of course, the series admin in to the booth as well.
If you thought that the best part about this show was crowning the champions and sign, seal, and delivering it off to everybody, no, that's not it. What's coming next season will shock some of you, amaze others, and other ones, yet again, will say, yep, I knew that was coming. Probably me and Stuart. Me and Stuart will probably say that, actually.
Right, 92, not 93. There we go. My brain was questioning me there, but yes, Schumacher. But yes, next season is going to be fantastic stuff, and this season is being closed off with a fantastic race as well. We're very much getting towards the tail
White flag
now. White flag is out. Last lap. Looking down the order, will Tim Harris have to pull into pit lane? Because I do not think he's going to make it home on that fuel. He's going to try his best, but I don't think he is. That's my one I'm looking at. That's my little battle of fuel saving that I'm keeping an eye on, because I'm boring and I love fuel saving. But Andrew Dyson has done an amazing job out front in this race, leading this race and doing a great job to give the Ferrari its final farewell to the series. And we are going to see two Ferraris on the top of the podium tonight. A great way to say goodbye to that car.
Yeah, so long, farewell, and thanks for all the fish, says Andrew Dyson's Ferrari. It has been a stellar drive from him. It has been clean. What about that move on Jeff Connell heading down to the hairpin? That was an absolute crack. A bunch of people moved over to the Ferrari for the final race in Aus ProAm Sim series. That it will be here next season. The Ferrari Evo will be stepping into its shoes, and Timothy Harris has driven past the start-finish line, so he's going to have a crack at getting that thing home. With the couple of cents worth of fuel he had stashed underneath his seat. So we'll see if he can crawl that one over. A guy that's not having to crawl that one home is Andrew Dyson.
Change for lead, sorry, Scotty, in the AM class.
Well, battles are about to be resolved. Dyson crosses the line. He's going to grab the checkered flag. Great win for him. And then we flick across to the right-hand side, and it is going to be Audi and Fit that are challenging it on the last lap. Luke Fit versus Derek Audi. Luke Fit's got it at this stage. It's going to have to be a mega send here from Audi, but he's thinking about it. He's down the inside. Is he going to bail out? Yes, he will. Turning in. He's looped it. He's looped it. I tell you what, Webster's going to be coming around here in just a moment as well, so he's got to be careful not to collect Daniel Webster.
Huge moment there. That is disastrous. That was scary stuff there, but Webster just managed to make it through, I believe. So he just managed to squeeze that one through, take a deep breath, and get that one past. So great job from him.
And he's going to come home second in the amateur standings for the evening, and that is more than enough to lock it up. Capel needed to grab 30 points back on him if Capel had won tonight. And in fact, if Capel...
Lachlan Capel right on the back of Timothy Harris at the moment. If Harris has a bit of a cough here, he could possibly make up another position, but it doesn't look like it. Harris is going to come across the line just in front of young Lachlan Capel. Harris manages to make it somehow on a 16-lap stint there. Epic stint at the end for Timothy Harris. Do not know how he got that extra lap of fuel out of that big BMW.
Well, I tell you what, What a series it has been. There has been drama. There has been clean racing. There has been champions crowned. There have been guys that have put on one heck of a show from lights out to checkered flag every single race of the season. You've seen Shane Wallace just about dominate pro standings right the way through. Then we see an unlikely mistake from him at Detroit Belle Isle that saw him left the server. That was nearly a moment that turned the season on its head. The amateur class went down to the wire, but it was about who kept it clean, who kept it consistent. Daniel Webster will come home with the amateur championship. The team standings, though, who's going to take that one out? Could it be the Injectors Online entries? Will they have enough to get them over the line in the team standings? All will be revealed over the coming days, but also something to be revealed. Stuart, do we want to cross to it now? I'm kind of too nervous.
We do. I just wanted to mention, just in the AM finishing order, it was, of course, Luke Fitt taken out. Daniel Webster managed second place in the end. 18 positions gained in that race, and Aaron DeLuca came home third in the AM class. A really strong finish for Aaron DeLuca there. Tim Harris gaining 22 positions tonight, biggest gainer of the night, and he managed to do that with that epic fuel save at the end. So starting way down, I said about Tim Harris starting way down in 39th position, he managed to finish in P17 at the end. That is a huge climb up the ranks.
Look,
Go ahead.
The announcement goes for a couple of minutes, so I think what we'll do here, we've got Jeff Connell, Josh Fitt, and Sam Lehman, and Andrew Dyson in the booth now. So let's bring in our podium first and foremost. We'll bring Sam in at the same time. Can't leave him sitting out there in the cold, dark green room that we've got out there, and we'll have a quick chat with these guys, and then we'll get into some season 5 stuff as well. So boys, take it away. We've got our Pro Series podium in the booth with us at the moment.
Well, let's start out. Let's tell you what. Let's start out with the amateur class. We rarely do that. Actually, no, you guys aren't the amateur class. You guys are the pro classes. I can't read. Don't know what I'm on about. Joshua Fitt. We'll start from the bottom end of the podium. A phenomenal race from you there, mate. Starting, I think you were well back in the pack. No, you were P4. So first, second, and fourth are the guys that sit on the podium tonight. It was about qualifying up front. There was a huge accident on lap number 1, but it's an endurance race. You got to survive that. Got to keep the car in one piece, and I think you did a phenomenal job to do so tonight. Josh, you got us there, Josh?
Sorry guys, just trying to get my mic working. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
yeah, we can now, mate.
Thank you. It's a bit of a fun race. It's finally good to make it to the podium. Last race of the year. Some good battles out there with a few of the fellas. But all in all, fun race. Hard to keep your concentration for 70 minutes at the best of times. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Now, I'm curious to ask this one because I know that Carl will want to hear the answer. The watermelon paint scheme. Where did the inspiration for the watermelon paint scheme come up, as Carl calls it?
It's a bit of a rip-off from my favourite paint scheme from the Nordschleifer and the Manthey Racing team. So inspiration from them. They're my favourite guys, my favourite car. So that's why I run what I do.
All satisfied with the answer? We've
Very much so, because I've been looking at that all season long and being like, I know that from somewhere, I'm sure. My brain has been ticking around and now I know. Yes, thank you so much.
I think they just won the latest Nürburgring race as well, so it's good to see them on the podium as well.
Yeah, Manthey, one of the greatest at the ring and Porsche racing in general. They have been so successful, and bringing them a little bit more success with those colours. Obviously, the highest German car tonight, so obviously keeping the crowd happy out there. The virtual crowd will be very happy about that one.
I hope so.
I mean, it's been a phenomenal season from start to finish. I mean, talk to us about your year. It certainly had a few rounds there where it was down a lot more than it was up. But the racing's so close. You know, at some stage you're going to end up in an accident, but you want to be out there every single week just because the racing is so good for the 99% of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Up and down year, there's a few accidents, I think, on first laps, which was disappointing. But that's, the racing that we do, and we race pretty close. Everyone leaves, a decent amount of room, but sometimes, things happen. That's why we love the sport. You get up and you come back again next week and you have just as much fun. But yeah, a bit of an up and down year. Probably wasn't as consistent as I'd probably like. But hey, we've always got next season to be better at that.
What's the target? You managed to get onto the podium at last in this season. Is it going to be, 2, 3, 4 podiums next season's the target for you, Josh?
You can only hope that this season has shown the strength, I guess, of everybody that's in it, and I'm sure next season it's going to get even stronger. So just being on the podium, I guess, once is an achievement, but you always strive to do better. But yeah, looking forward to what next season brings, and obviously a great way to end the year. But love it every week, and we'll be back again.
No, mate. Opportunity to give some thank yous to your sponsors as well.
No sponsors, but to all the series sponsors, thank you for putting everything into what you do, and Sam for running the wonderful season. It's the only league I race in. It's my first league I've ever raced in, and I couldn't have had a better experience. So to thank you to Sim Rigs, 9.3, H Plant, CT Corp, Phoenix. I'm probably missing someone, but you guys are putting it on. FGM Ecast. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you all for making it happen.
Well, I tell you what, it doesn't get better than that from Joshua Fitz. It's a pleasure to finally find him up here in the booth to talk to us at the end of a race. A man that is no stranger to the commentary box, however, is next on the podium. Jeff, things were tight there throughout the middle of the race, and unfortunately, it was a lap car. You just come around and arrived, and he was just right where you didn't want him to be, but didn't compromise you too much to put you another spot back down the night. But overall, pretty good endurance race around the Hockenheim ring.
Yeah, it was a good night. Surprised to get pole. It's probably the first night I've raced a Ferrari, so good battle with Andrew, and just had nowhere to go with that lap car spewing, but that cost me probably 4 or 5 seconds, and in the end he beat me by a lot more than that, so didn't change the result in the end. Obviously, he did a better job. I think outright pace, we were pretty even as we saw in qualifying, but he obviously looked after his fuel and tyres a bit better than me, so sort of disappointing in that regards, but a good end to the year, like 3 podiums in a row. So happy with that compared with how bad it started.
Take us back to probably, I think it was in between the first and the second stops. You and Dyson bottled up in behind Denny Davis, and Dyson just sends a big one down the inside of you. I heard you both come over the radio and just sort of say, yep, good move, good job, let me through, thank you very much, making it happen. Sim racing, it's not just about the guy that's making the move, it's both guys. The guy that's defending the move also has to allow things to happen sometime. You took the better part of valor. You let that move happen. It was an aggressive move, but sometimes you recognize that guy's going to have a go at some point. You've just got to yield at one point.
Yeah, especially in a 70-minute race, it's no point turning in and risk being turned around, and it's hard on the sim. Like in real life, you could probably bump and grind in a situation like that a bit more than on here. The cars touch sometimes and they just spiral around. So it was a pretty late dive, sort of caught me off guard, and it was a good race. It was a good move. So we actually had a battle here last season as well. So bit of deja vu. It was good fun though, and it's good to be able to race people clean like that. Like most of the guys in here are pretty good. That's why I enjoy the series. There's only a few sort of guys that don't understand racing, but in general, the racing's been awesome in this competition. So definitely be back next season.
Well, Jeff, are we expecting any sponsors to finally come on board the Batmobile in the off season, or is it going to be continued thank you to all the Aus ProAm Sim series sponsors as usual?
Don't know, mate. Maybe I need you guys with a bit of PR access to help me get some partners. So, none at this stage. But once again, thanks to Sam and Matt and everyone that organised. It takes so much effort put on a good show like that, as well as keep 40 or 50 people happy is nearly impossible, but they've done well. So thanks to them, and who knows, maybe some sponsors next year to thank as well.
Will he take $10 or $15 to put my face and please ram here on the rear bumper?
I'll take anything, mate. The $10 or $15 is $10 or $15.
We'll talk off stream. Pleasure as always, Jeff. Another strong finish from you, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure to see the 2 more Jeff Connell rules added to the list this season. And finally, rounding us out off the top step, Daiso. It was a dive bomb down there at the hairpin, but you got it done, and close racing as usual in Aus ProAm Sim series. It's just a staple of the series now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great to see really clean racing up and down the field. Probably a lot cleaner this time at this track compared to last time by the sound of the thing. So that's great. It's great to hear everyone's getting their head around the massive fields and making a good time of it. I must confess, it was an accidental move down to the hairpin there, and Jeff had he's an operator and he had good awareness to see what was going on and opened the steering wheel a little bit, and we both got away with it. But yeah, that was definitely not intentional. I just didn't read the play well enough with Danny up ahead there, and basically was avoiding action, and I missed the apex by about 3 kilometres and burnt up about 10% of tyre wear on the fronts, trying to not run into anybody. So, but no, Jeff did a good job there, and yeah, I just had to confess that.
But that's just it, and it's about that, isn't it? When you see something happen, try and prevent it from becoming worse.
Yeah, exactly right. I guess a lot of people, if they were watching and they saw it, they can probably learn from it. It's definitely a situation where someone's come in at a late bomb like I did, and just seen it, and he did exactly the right thing to live to fight another day. And really, it was probably just a bit awkward that we kind of came out really wide on the corner. Otherwise, he would have had the run down to the next corner and probably been in front of me again anyway. But it didn't work out that way, and I guess it kind of worked out luckily for me. But we were all on the same pace at that stage anyway, even Danny and Jeff. So that was good fun.
Strength to strength throughout different periods of season 3. Like I said, last season out, we saw you up towards the front end of things during season 3. Now during season 4, you've been out here, you've been quick at different stages, back in season 5, and hopefully a few more race wins under the belt.
Yeah, maybe I'll come to as many races as I can. I enjoy jumping in on the casual and having a bit of a lob and seeing how we go. Last week was a bit of a disaster, so I was glad to have a better race this week. I should mention too, Joshy and I got together last week, and this week, as it worked out, I gave him a bit of a fat toe in quali, so hopefully that makes up for the awkwardness we had at lap 1 last week at Zandvoort.
It's just it, races being races, and yet at the end of the day, you're giving each other a bit of space. Yeah, Josh, you were about to say something there, mate.
No, I do appreciate that toe. It was a mega one, so thanks, Andy. That was amazing.
That's all good.
And finally, Andrew, last night of the year, thank yous to your sponsors and all the shout-outs that you can offer.
Well, I guess the most important thing is to shout out to all the guys who are putting the series together, Sam and Matt and all the other guys behind the scenes who we probably don't get much of a mention, but I'm sure there's plenty of other guys that are putting in some work and making this happen. So thanks to all those guys who put it all together. Thanks to all the series sponsors, HJ Plant Repairs, Simrix.com, Phoenix Smokers, Computer Technology Corporation, 93PC, and we can't do it without iRacing, obviously. I'm just reading that off the broadcast, by the way. And a few other cheeky ones, Southfield Lifts and Hoist, BMX Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, Alcoholder, and MP Designs. Get around them. But I guess lastly, thanks to all the drivers, and thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast.
Don't forget the boys, Daiso.
Full credit to the boys. They helped me get it done. Actually, they didn't do a whole lot this week. I'm supposed to be practicing for another race this week, and I shouldn't really be doing this, but thanks to those guys anyway.
Oh, it's worth it. You come home first. It's always worth it, isn't it, Daiso?
Yeah, I'm sure they can forgive me.
Well, boys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you hang around. Make sure you don't go anywhere, because Sam Lehman will fill us in with all the goss on season number 5 in a few moments. And, well, Sam, welcome to the commentary box. You're in here last weekend on merit. This week, you didn't get there on merit, but you did get here to give us the best merits of season 5, shall we say.
Yeah, I had no pace tonight, and but before we do move on to season 5, Scotty and Carl, now come on, boys, surely you recognise the famous Grello of the Manti Racing team?
Who?
The Grello Porsche.
Yes, my brain was not registering it all season long.
He had quiz questions prepared tonight, but he couldn't get the livery right.
Yeah, it slipped me by, and I was staring at it. I'm going, I know that livery from somewhere, and I've just been staring at it all season long, going, I know I love that livery. It would be like if there was a flying lizard out there. I'd be sitting there going, I know that. I love it, but I don't know what it is. It's just one of those moments where my brain is just not registered. I've been too busy having obscure facts in my head.
I've been listening to Watermelon all season long, and I've just been waiting for my opportunity to throw that in there. So thanks for that.
Oh, Sam. It's a pleasure over here, isn't it? To anyone who doesn't know, by the way, if you're interested and you're hanging around for more information on Aus ProAm Sim Series Season number 5, we've had the Wild and Wily Season 4 and the addition of the 4th car to the service and to the balancing, which has been interesting to say the least. This is Sam Lehman, Series admin. He's put in a whole host of work to get us out on the track each and every single week, and he has a whole host of fun coming up with wildcard rounds for us. Well, next season, wildcard rounds remain on the schedule. Yes, everyone loves them. Of course, they're remaining on the schedule. What else is coming our way, though?
Oh, we've got some fun stuff. So why don't you roll the video,
Yeah,
Stuart?
so let's
We'll
roll
talk
a
about it on
teaser,
the other side.
and we'll have a chat about it after this. Well, I don't know about you gents, but I have chills down my spine, and they are multiplying. So the video put together by Sam Lehman, Series Administrator, and hopefully people picked up on a couple of the new things that are coming out. Sam, I'll get you to quickly run us through.
Yeah, so probably the biggest thing there's two massive things for season 5, I guess. So probably the big one there at the end was all 7 GT3 cars are back. So we're not restricting. Well, the Ford's rubbish, so we won't bother with the Ford. But all current GT3 cars are now back in. We're changing our balance of performance system to. We're not going to add weight to the cars next season. We're going to do it with a power restrictor instead, so it doesn't affect the handling of the cars quite so much. And we feel that doing it that way, we can bring all the cars back in and have a nice balanced league with all 7. So more choice for the drivers next season, which is really, really cool. But then the other big one is, of course, Pass 2. So one of the things that really it was really heartbreaking at the start of the season. Actually, we had 84 drivers attend our qualifying round at the start of the season, and iRacing only allows a 62 car grid. So to turn around to people and say, sorry, you can't be part of our series was really, really it was awful actually, because you put a lot of work in, you want everyone to enjoy it. So we're going to expand and run Pass 2. So Pass 2 will be in a sort of a curtain raiser time slot. The Pro-Am races will move back slightly, just so we can fit this Pass 2 race in beforehand. So obviously the formats will remain the same. The Pro-Am, so a sprint round will actually go to a 15-minute race and a 40-minute race, a slightly shorter sprint race, and we'll have time to fit a half-hour Pass 2 race in beforehand.
Yeah, probably.
Now, Pass 2. So is that, my question to you, is that open to the guys that are in AusPass, or is it only to guys that don't qualify into AusPass?
Yes, that's for people who don't qualify. So the Pro-Am the practice sessions will effectively open at the same time on a Tuesday night. So people in the Pro-Am, and the Pro-Am will obviously still have the bigger prizes and the two classes, and that will effectively remain almost unchanged. But Pass 2 is an opportunity for us to run something a little bit more casual. You won't have to qualify at the start of the season to get into it. We can keep the entry open for people who come along halfway through, and they can be part of our league and part of how we run things as well.
Probably the most pressing question, wildcard rounds. They're in AusPass. What happens to those in Pass 2?
Yeah, so Pass 2 will run the wildcards as well. So next season is going to be 10 rounds, a slightly shorter than this season, which means it'll be 2 wildcards rather than 3. And the way Pass 2 will run is they will run at a wildcard round 2 15-minute races. And they will. So the other thing about our wildcards this season is they will both be multi-class for the Pro-Am, and the Pass 2 races will choose the slower of the 2 cars in the multi-class race. So they'll be only one class.
All right. So, and the main reason that you've done that is because you don't want to run the Audi again, the GTO.
No, I love the Audi.
Yes,
but we've run it 3 seasons in a row, and there won't be an Audi in season 5.
So you're turning the lights off the Audi, I guess.
No, you know what? There's no track that actually has lights on it for season 5. We haven't really done a night race type track, so I don't think we'll have to worry about that. All the cars we're running have headlights next season.
Right. So that rules out all of the open wheel cars.
Yep.
So there will be no Skip Barber. There will be no Formula V. AusPass, Pass 2.
Yeah, so the round one, of course, we always start with a wild card. So season 5, no exception. Round 1 will be at Spa-Francorchamps, and it will be a choice between the Radical SR8 or the Dallara LMP2P prototype.
So it's kind of like big prototype and little prototype.
Yeah, exactly.
Daddy and baby. Here we go. Daddy and son's first track day.
Yeah, exactly. So qualifying, we're going to have a pretty short break into season 5. Qualifying is, qualifying will be finishing up 2 weeks from now. So qualifying will run over 3 nights. There'll be 3 2-hour sessions. So it'll be the Friday the 24th, Saturday the 26th, and then Tuesday the 28th. Of September will run qualifying. They'll both be. They'll all start at 7:30 p.m. and run for 2 hours, with the same conditions, of course, in every session. And then, of course, the cumulative times will go in and decide who goes in. Pro will be the top 27 from those qualifying sessions, plus the returning champion. Will be offered an invite back. AM will be the next 22, plus the returning champion, and any we might offer some wild cards to the AM class as well. So the plan is to head into season 5 with a 60 driver field, and everyone else will be running in Pass 2.
Right, and that all gets underway from the 24th of September. Zolder Grand Prix Circuit is going to be the host for your Aus ProAm Sim Series qualifiers. Sam, if people want to keep up to date, what is going to be? It's just going to be an open session, isn't it?
So we'll have to run the qualifying as a league, their league sessions, because the way iRacing works is if we run them as an open practice session, the laps actually count if you get off tracks, which obviously we don't want. So you'll have to take part in the qualifying sessions. They'll be run under the new Pass 2 League. So we'll have that information up in the Discord and the Facebook page, so you can get on and join the Pass 2 League and get into the qualifying sessions.
Best way for people out in the chat and in the wide world of streaming and social media who might be following right now, if they're interested in potentially becoming a part of Pass 2 or Aus ProAm Sim series, where do they go to become a part of this wonderful racing series?
So the best way to find us is head to Facebook and search for Aus ProAm Sim series, or and also we've got a Discord server, but probably the best way to find the Discord server is to find our link on Facebook.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had enough of Aus ProAm Sim series, just by sitting back on the couch listening to us ramble on every week about trivia, this, that, and the other, now is your chance to get involved. Oz Pass and Pass 2 kicking off live the week following our qualifying round. So 24th, 25th, and is that 8th? I'm assuming that's 8th. It looks a little bit like a 6th. Is that the 26th will be the last session?
Fancy font, probably. It's the 28th. So 24th, 26th, 28th. And okay. I believe Stu probably wants to announce that we've always called that final qualifying session the Last Chance Saloon. That'll be broadcast on FGM Ecast.
Absolutely, will. Yeah, FGM Ecast will have the Last Chance Saloon live for you on Tuesday the 28th of September. So we've got just a week off, and then we'll be back with that Last Chance Saloon. Another announcement as well, next season we will only be streaming on YouTube and Facebook for the Aus ProAm Sim series. So to any of you on Twitch who do enjoy our stream, apologies, but we are just moving back to YouTube and Facebook for a couple of reasons that will come into the fold as we get the stream underway next season. So fantastic. We did announce last week that we were back on board with the Aus ProAm Sim series for Season 5 and into 2022. And so
Sam, you're getting us back again? Haven't you learned your lesson?
I'm a glutton for punishment, aren't I?
It's the quiz. He cited specifically the quiz was the main reason why we were back. So Carl saved it. We were on our way out the door, and Carl saved it with the quiz.
Carl to the box.
I won't take full credit, but I'll take most of it.
But no, looking forward to Last Chance Saloon. I've got a couple of ideas there. We'll get some people up into the booth and do a couple of things that we can't normally do during a full-on weekend. It's just a turn of phrase, but during a Tuesday night stream, because it's compact. And of course, I'm excited. We had the old dual or full race weekend stream last year when we were running the IndyCar series. So I'm really excited to be bringing back that dual format, full race weekend, multi-class broadcast as well next season. So really, really keen that you guys have put that together, and we'll make sure we get that to work as well. So continues to develop. So Aus ProAm Sim Series 5, you've got September 24th. You know the track, you know the car combo, so you need to get out and get some practice happening and see how you can go to maybe get into the series. I know there were a few disappointed drivers who missed the cut last season. You're guaranteed to get in unless we blow up the servers, but you're guaranteed to get in with the introduction, of course, as well of Pass. So good work, Sam. It looks really, really good. If you want to see the track list that is going to be accompanying Season 5, keep an eye on the Aus ProAm Sim Series social media pages as well. I will share that information when it comes out too. And another successful season, Sam. I think probably not to steal your thunder, but there's probably a couple of people you want to say thank you to.
Always. Look, I've got to thank nearly 50 drivers for showing up every week. If you said to me at the start of Season 4 that we'd have 40 plus drivers at our last round, I'd have shaken your hand and taken it right there. It was it's unreal to see people coming back like this, and really humbling that people are enjoying the work that we put in, and it's really good. So to all the drivers who showed up week in, week out, you've made the series what it is, and thank you so much for that. But yeah, of course, a big shout out to our sponsors. We'll start off with the small guys, obviously 93PC and Phoenix Smokers, who've Phoenix came on board this season for the first time, so really good, and always exciting to have new sponsors with us. Sim Rigs came on for their second season with us this season, and have been wonderful supporters, and I can announce have stepped up and come on as the major sponsor for season 5. So really thanks to Derek and Phil and everyone at Sim Rigs who are coming on board and really sponsoring us and looking after us, and making this league what it is. HJ Plant Repairs, of course, Hayden's been with us right since the start, and we can't thank him enough for his support and ongoing support, and he's back next season as well. And of course, at the top, Computer Technology Corporation. To have those guys come on board out of the blue and take a major sponsorship for the season was really great. And I hope if anyone's got any sort of they're based in the Sydney area, so if anyone's in there and have sort of enterprise level IT needs, make sure you get in touch with those guys, because they've really supported us, and they deserve your phone call. So thanks very much to all of our sponsors. It's been amazing.
Yeah, echo those sentiments completely. So good to hear with those guys all jumping back on board next season as well. So a good result there. So that brings us to a conclusion of another season. So a fantastic season it was. Massive fields, fantastic racing right the way throughout, and I speak on behalf of the entire commentary team when we say we get excited about Tuesday nights for whatever they may bring. So a good one, and looking forward to the stream in 2 weeks' time when we get back together. So that is going to be one to look forward to. Carl, tomorrow night we're back.
And sorry, Stu, before you do go on to that, and there's probably one that I need to do, is thank you to you, all three of you guys, for being here week in, week out, and broadcasting us and doing what you do. It's amazing. I always watch the stream back. I know a lot of the guys always watch the stream back and really love what you do, and you've supported us from round one, and really do thank you sincerely.
Oh, you're more than welcome. It's a joy to call the racing, and especially when we get great racing like tonight, it makes our job very, very easy indeed.
Oh yeah, and look, to be perfectly honest, I harp on about driving standards because you don't hear it from every league. In fact, it's probably only about 10-15% of leagues where you hear about, oh man, the racing's so great here, I want to come back week in, week out. So
yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on.
So tomorrow night we will be back broadcasting. Of course, we have got the Thunder live from Las Vegas. Of course, the lights will be on, and we will be on the strip at Las Vegas. Who will gamble tomorrow night? Who will roll snake eyes and lose out? We will soon find out. And of course, we have the Cup race on Thursday night after a little bit of issue, of course, with the chase from Bristol. Qualifying has been set, but the race will be live on this week, on FGM eCast for the Bristol round of the Cup race. So that will be Thursday night.
Yeah, and that's going to be a little bit earlier than normal. Normally with the Cup, we're on at 8 o'clock. I have been starting a bit earlier with the awesome interviews that Carl's been putting together with the chase drivers. There won't be an interview this week, but we will be starting early at 7:45 because the race will not have qualifying beforehand, with Joshua Carroll-Walden starting on pole there with Ryan Jones next to him. So look forward to that one too. But we will be back tomorrow night, 7:45. FGM eCast, your E-Place for Pace. Thank you to everyone who joined us across the season, and the great chat tonight as well. And look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow night. Have a good evening.